The hero's only wish was that he really wanted to live. The disease that doctors found in him had never been encountered before. That's why they decided to name the disease after his name, Isaac. They also told the young man something important. He has 6 months left to live. This news shocked Isaac. He just couldn't believe it. After all, in my very short life, I have seen little. Then the idea occurred to him to throw himself under the wheels of a car. But some stranger saved him by pushing him aside. The young man fell to his knees from the impact. Death sentence, it's so unfair. And also on the day he won the best lottery. I want to live and I don't want to die, the young man repeated. I asked God for help many times. Then his voice grew louder and he no longer concealed his tears. Despite all this, the state in which he continued to live did not suit him either. After all, the man was reborn as a skeleton. Suddenly, creatures appeared behind him. Thanks to his good reflexes, the skeleton turned around in time, and he armed himself with his blade, which was decorated with a skull. In an instant, the monsters were finished. The blood of the bastards began to flow from the skeleton's sword. But that was not all. Someone else appeared behind him, a huge creature that was larger than the previous ones. She intended to crush the young man with her paw, but he, thanks to his agility, managed to dodge without difficulty. Then he smiled slyly. After killing this monster, this shit will finally end. Shouting something offensive, the skeleton attacked, his blade filled with fiery energy from determination. This is the last one, said the warrior. The monster screamed in pain from this attack. With it, the enslavement of the rebels was completed. After reincarnation, the former human became a demon of the lowest level. As he progressed in his career, he evolved into the king of the undead, the Lich. He also revived the criminal demons that were almost destroyed. Our king, whose name comes from his nasty character Isaac, the followers cried. I already told you that my name is Isaac. How many times do I have to repeat it? The Lich was indignant. When they asked where the former man was going now, he replied that he was going to receive payment. After all, right now the skeleton just wanted to eat some food and go to the toilet. The demon's head was thrown at the people's feet. Some of them felt uneasy at what they saw. The Lich only smiled sarcastically at this. In the meantime, he entered the divine kingdom. I got rid of everyone who was against you. The agreement is still in force, asked the Lich. We thought it would take you much longer, one of the gods objected. Some high-ranking nobles joined together to work on the skeleton without pay. Why do you talk so much? Are you really unable to fulfill your part of the deal? The Lich wondered. Will you do one more thing for us? Asked one of the gods. Even if I'm a skeleton, they should know when to stop, the Lich thought. Why the hell are you trying to make me your slave? He asked angrily. It seems that you really don't know how to make a man out of me. The skeleton continued. It seems he noticed it, the maiden informed the god. Then the Lich decided to manipulate. If they don't turn him into a human, he will destroy the divine kingdom. No, give us more time, the people begged, as payment for failing to keep their promises. He intended to kill them all, and then turn them into their slaves, skeletons. A frightening dark red energy began to emanate from the Lich, for in his hands he was creating a spell. Then something strange started to happen. His magic disappeared and the Lich could not move his body. It's no use, one of the gods blurted out. After all, the one whose name he wrote down cannot move. Indeed, the beetle had Isaac engraved on it. In the past, this technique was used to seal away disasters. Now live like a bug, the blonde man said. Why not like a fluffy caterpillar? The Lich clarified. The demon was still obsessed with his hair. Then something strange began to happen to the hand of God. Ha, you idiots! The Lich suddenly blurted out. I'd rather kill myself than become an insect, he added. Stop! The rest of the people shouted at this. After that, a bright flash illuminated them. A moment later, there was an explosion of enormous proportions. Crazy bastard, people screamed. Be that as it may, the ritual was activated correctly. Therefore, the Demon King's soul had to be sealed. Since he was no longer there, the powers had to return to the gods. But it was too early to relax, for they did not know when the next catastrophe would happen. Therefore, they were going to create an ideal vessel in the human world in order to kill all the demons. Now it was necessary to choose the soul suitable for this. The impudent Demon King, the blonde said sarcastically. Now he will be trapped inside the beetle forever. Just think, the gods have deceived me. These were Isaac's first thoughts. Then he opened his eyes completely and saw his hands. The skin was soft and it was warm. He managed to get into a human body. He didn't understand why those who hated him did this to him. Oh, the saint has awakened, said the nanny. What woke you up? she asked. This environment was a little frightening for the baby. Now they were upset, but they had to do their job. They had to put a bottle of the mixture into the guy's mouth. The kid was taken aback by what he saw. In his incomprehensible language, he tried to wriggle out of it. "Sorry, Saint, but you will sleep forever," said the nanny's assistant. The bottle almost touched his lips, but he managed to deftly dodge her. The assistant didn't understand why he wasn't eating. "Just behave like a child and open your mouth, Sir Isaac," he ordered. "Wow, they called me by name," thought the kid. This was an alternative pronunciation of his name, Isaac. It seems that one of the gods used the wrong Isaac. Now it was clear why the lich was not sealed. These idiots acted so self-confident, but they showed carelessness. While the baby was laughing, the bottle of formula finally ended up in his mouth. But he resisted to the end. "This is vegetable juice. Do they want to kill me with this crap?" the kid thought. His eyes began to close. Something sinister was entering his body. Meanwhile, events were unfolding in the Central Eastern Temple. The old man walked slowly down the corridor. All his thoughts were only about how to quickly end the child. "You seem to be in good spirits, Bishop." The unknown person distracted him. It was the Emperor of the Holy Empire of Helen, Alexander. "I greet the son of the Empire," the old man blurted out. "What business do you have here?" asked the Emperor. Joshua's family arrived to greet the candidate for sainthood. Since it concerned a saint, the old man had to take personal part. If after the transfer of the Holy See another accident occurs, it will be very unfortunate. Suddenly, the cry of a child was heard throughout the corridor. Upon hearing this, the old man's lips began to twitch into a chuckle. Everyone immediately ran to the room from which the screams were coming. "Where is my son?" the Emperor blurted out, running inside. "Young master," one of the nannies cried out in fear. Alexander's face suddenly changed. In front of him, he saw a contented child with a huge belly. He ate 15 bottles of the disgusting juice. The old man did not understand how a child could still be alive after drinking. After all, it wasn't just juice. A few minutes earlier, when something sinister penetrated into him, the child felt something familiar. It was a sacred curse, a deadly poison that destroys the power of saints. The child was going to turn him into a demon mana. It was easy for him. He couldn't believe that he could deceive them so easily. "Now I'll have my fill of this magical brew," Isaac thought. "Give me more," the baby ordered them in his own language. "Yes, of course, the more you drink, the better," said the assistant. And he put the bottle in the baby's mouth. Then the boy came to some realization, and he hastened to close his eyes. He needed to leave the world of consciousness and enter the world of the subconscious. Go to the deepest point, namely to the world of origin. Where the mana core is created, there he will be safe. Now the baby needed to concentrate. He was going to gather the mana he had absorbed into the core. It was necessary in order to use magic if he wanted to cast spells in the future. But suddenly there was a magical explosion. Wait, the regular core is 3-colored, the kid thought. But what appeared before his eyes was white. This energy was completely new to him. Then the boy smiled slyly. How many blessings fit into this body, he thought. Now the baby can become a much bigger monster than he was before. His name appeared before his eyes. And the choice, to survive or not, the baby pressed the first one. His most desperate wish, carved deep within his soul, was the beginning of his rise to become the Demon King. Thanks to this, he was able to create his own buffs and skills. But most importantly, he managed to inherit his past experience in a new body. "He finally died?" asked the nanny's friend. But no, the baby stretched his hand up. The courtiers looked at him in bewilderment. "Another bottle," the baby demanded. "It's good that nothing bad happened," the emperor said in the present. The old man at this time looked at Isaac with hatred. His gaze frightened the baby. "Damn, I can't do anything that will arouse suspicion," he thought. "So I decided to play dumb." "He's constipated," the grandfather thought. The dose should have been enough to kill the child. But something clearly went wrong. "Is he laughing at me?" thought the bishop. A few days ago in the Central Papacy, it all ended with everyone declaring that their child was a saint, said the man with the cup in his hand. "Don't worry, the other candidates for sainthood will be taken care of," the old man said. However, unpleasant rumors reached him. It was as if there was a candidate for sainthood from Joshua. This house was the emperor's right hand. Then the man dropped his cup, and he said that the child should be dead by the time the bishop arrived. It will only be necessary to confirm the presence of the body. "A child from the house of Berith will become a saint," declared the patriarch and cardinal of that house, Hirej. "Damn, he said that the saint would die," the old man wondered. "Then why he is still alive is impossible." Interesting, said Alexander. Shining locks, the color of the founder of an empire. This little man will become the next emperor. It seems to me that he is closer to God than the current pope, the emperor said. What? I'm a candidate for sainthood, thought the kid. The emperor was beginning to favor him. It was time to stop this, the old man caught himself thinking. Let me examine the child, he blurted out to the father. It was inconceivable that he could drink all that juice, the grandfather said. Please allow me to examine it, the bishop repeated. Suddenly, the baby vomited up the rest of the poison. Undigested dark mana. Did the old man really notice, the boy thought? Sir, the bishop said slowly, I just felt the darkness coming from this child, he added. This is very suspicious. Still, he noticed, the boy reasoned. The child could be a false candidate carrying mana, so the bishop needed to discuss this with the inquisitor. How can you say such a thing in front of a saint? The emperor wondered. Don't worry. The pope has already set his sights on the saint from the Barrett family, the old man said. A child from his own home, how shameless. Now it's clear why he wants to get rid of me, the boy thought. Then the bishop picked up the baby in his arms. Bring the inquisitor, he ordered. Wait a second, Alexander intervened. The house of Joshua is a close ally of the royal palace. I ask you to consider the child's candidacy, the emperor asked. I understand, young sir, the bishop replied. But His Highness said the same thing. The crown prince's blessing will be given after the decision on the saint has been made. If the bishop does not support the child chosen by the father, then he will refuse to bless the crown prince. What corrupt bastards, thought the kid. It will be bad if they find out who I am. The boy caught himself thinking. Or we can check right now, the old man said, with the help of his power of exorcism. If the baby is human, then nothing will happen to him. But if the demon, but before he could finish speaking, he received a blow to the face with a bottle. The blow knocked out a couple of the bastard's teeth. A small victory brought the baby a lot of pleasure. You're an insolent bastard, he said in his childish language. It was painful to be hit with a bottle, the old man thought. The child was definitely a saint. He caught himself thinking as he looked at him. Then the baby started waving his bottle, and he hit the bastard again. Afterwards, he repeated his attack several more times. The bishop started bleeding from his mouth again. This force struck the boy's father. The kid was about to call upon strengthening magic to make the bottle harder. The old man was amazed at the divinity of the baby. The kid noticed that every time he used dark mana, a little bit of divine mana came out with it. These two opposites could not be used together. The old man intercepted the boy's next blow. I swear by everything I have, this child is a heretic, he declared. So the exorcism had to be performed right now. Yes, I didn't want to do that, the baby said in his own language. Then he grabbed the old man tighter, and he took out an ancient artifact from his pocket. The bishop was speechless at this. After all, the kid showed everyone the exorcised remains of a high-ranking demon. This item could absorb the power of its relatives. The old man did not understand how he found out about it. Then he turned around abruptly, and the hand fell straight to the floor. Look carefully, you idiot, you shouldn't have attacked me, the kid thought. At that very second, dark energy began to emanate from the artifact. Then the baby snapped his fingers, and a frightening shadow appeared from the hand. Try to cope with this now, Isaac blurted out. People became worried about how the Shadow Lich ended up here. Bishop, what does all this mean? Asked the emperor. He clarified how the child managed to bring this totem to life. Everyone, protect the child from the demon and the bishop, the emperor commanded. The baby was taken from the hands of the bastard. Serves you right, dumbass, Isaac thought, looking at his grandfather. All that remained was to watch what the bishop would do next. Holy, the shadow said in a hoarse voice. Kill him, she added, increasing her voice. What? The kid began to wonder. Kill the saint, the lich repeated and rushed towards him. Protect the young master, the guards shouted. The child did not understand why he chose me as his target. Then, after thinking carefully, he realized that he had holy knights on his side who would protect him. But then, seeing how quickly they were losing, I began to wonder if they really were saints. The lich did not calm down, trying to save the imprisoned king. Damn, I have to stop him first, the kid thought. No one will be able to notice his mana in this chaos. The lich, meanwhile, had almost reached the child. The baby's face became serious. His eyes turned red. In them, one could clearly see the skeleton of a demon. King, is it you? Asked the lich. The child began to radiate divine energy. The lich couldn't resist her. This force struck the boy's father. In the light of God, the demon that appeared began to disappear. A moment later, Realizing that he wouldn't last long, I couldn't think of anything better to do than run away from here. "Holy power, Master Isaac has defeated him," a voice was heard in the room. How amazing, so young and already possessing such strength, the warriors praised. "Wow, this is really my power," the kid thought. "It's good that it's all over." He continued his reasoning. His body actually converted mana into holy power. While the bishop was being restrained, the boy didn't understand where he could get dark mana now, since there wasn't enough of it in the empire. "The child is a heretic," the bishop shouted at last. "My lord, let me show you his true face," he continued. "Enough, you've done enough," Alexander blurted out. "Even if you're a person from the Holy See," he added. This does not bring any good results for the bishop. The seeds of doubt had already been sown in his mind, and soon he would learn about the spy. If this happens, it could have a negative impact on the Holy See. Even if this happens, it is necessary to save the people of one's family, the bishop reasoned. So he had only one choice: to kill a candidate for sainthood with one's own hands. A huge wolf was already running towards the baby and his protector. "Here is the stubborn one. He has finally shown himself in all his glory," said the man. "Does he really think he can kill me with such a weak attack?" the kid thought. But then it dawned on the guy. His mana ran out and he couldn't defend himself. Suddenly a whip charged with electricity flashed. He pierced the dog's head. "Who dared to lay hands on the child Joshua?" asked the white-haired man. His clothes were decorated with a beautiful blue cloak. It was a member of the pious Asura, the seventh son of the house of Joshua, Rilai. "Arrest the bishop immediately," he commanded. "How dare you touch me?" The old man was indignant. Then the warrior ordered to pay tribute and welcome son Joshua. Rilai then apologized to Isaac for coming so late. They also had a gift for the boy. The boy thought it was a gold bar, but it turned out to be a figurine of the Skeleton King whose head had been cut off. This model left the child stunned. They had another one where the lich is burned alive, and the one where they split into pieces. The brain of a small child could not digest this. He wanted to cry. "How can I survive in this madhouse?" the boy thought. "Look, he seemed to like it," said one of the guards. Suddenly he began to remember who Joshua was, the saint who tried to defeat him in the form of a skeleton. Her name was Ho. She was the 45th saint. So was O Joshua, 61st. Damn, not only am I a candidate for sainthood, but I was also born into their family, the kid thought. What crime did he commit in his past life that led him to end up here? "I knew that you were heretics. Where did you get this creature?" The bishop did not calm down. He swore that he would reveal their true nature. "Joshua will be destroyed because of this monster," the old man continued. "I will destroy your family," he continued. After these words, his throat was cut with a blade. "Be thankful we didn't take your head," Rilai said. And he could be useful, since he was ready to attack the bishop for unflattering words about his family, the kid thought. "Young master, there is no point in listening to this." The people around the boy suddenly became worried. He began to remember Joshua. They were strong opponents. They continued to mock the skeleton figurine at this time. "I am in your debt," the emperor said suddenly. "Would you mind sharing the news that the imperial family is interested in raising the young master?" he asked. "You've got to be kidding," Riley blurted out. "Internal and external forces will be aimed at the young master. I am sure you understand this," the emperor said. "Joshua is strong, but will the child be protected from the pious Azure?" The Pope finds this situation regrettable, especially since the child has the same hair color as the founder of the Holy Empire. The Demon King may also be hunting him. "I apologize, but since this child is of Joshua's line, we will raise him as our own," Riley stated. "Whether it's Dad or the Demon King, Joshua is more than capable of dealing with them." "I am sure that this will be so," the emperor declared. "How can we allow a direct descendant of Saint Melissa to be given to the imperial family?" the soldier asked. The kid couldn't believe that his last opponent before ascending to the divine realm was that same Melissa. Not only was he born a candidate for sainthood, but he is also a direct descendant of this woman. One day the gods decided to create a powerful weapon: saints. They are capable of using attacks that are imbued with divine light. Stunned by the fighting prowess, the people thought that the Demon King would soon be defeated. However, the skeleton was cruel. The killing of saints pained him. When they died, their energy was transferred to the gods, allowing them to create more advanced saints. The last saint, Melissa, was damn strong. A saint is a person who desires nothing more than to destroy the Demon King. Joshua's main goal is to defeat everything that opposes God. "True, you know how many people died at the hands of the Skeleton King," the warrior intervened. One day, the Demon King locked the saint in a labyrinth. Considering her unworthy of his presence, he continued. "Don't worry, even if you are cursed, we will protect you," Riley said. They were happy that such a child was born. The parents wanted only one thing from the boy, that he would not grow up like the evil Demon King. These words struck the boy. "I'm sorry for ruining your goals and dreams," the dark side of the baby thought. "Don't jump to conclusions," the Emperor intervened. The Skeleton King was sealed 150 years ago. Over the years, the demons had grown stronger, and he was the perfect chance to strengthen the influence of the Holy Empire. The young master was very important to the imperial family. However, at this point, Joshua is no longer alive. More than a year has passed since she gave birth to this child and disappeared with her husband. The baby couldn't believe that his mother was a saint. Even so, Joshua was more than capable of protecting the boy. "Didn't you say that Melissa went to confront the Demon King's subjects?" the Emperor clarified. "She will be back soon and will be happy to see her grandson." She was the last person the baby wanted to run into. Then he took the Emperor by the finger, and in his childish language, he asked to take him with him. Without understanding anything, Alexander was very happy. "He's just being friendly, Your Highness," Relai responded. "The imperial family can do a lot for him. This child is destined to become a demon slayer, and Joshua is the best at it," Riley said. Then the men began to argue about whose family was better. The child wanted to join the imperial family. Then he looked shrewdly at Alexander. He had a better chance of surviving if he went with him. "A wise choice, baby," said Alexander. The boy smiled when he heard this. "It's impossible. I was sure he used mana," the bishop said, finding himself in the forest. "Without a doubt, this is a demon child." "You mean to say that the demon has the power of a god, the maiden, whose face was hidden by a hood," clarified. But the old man insisted that it was mana. The Holy See heard his statement. The old man didn't have time to add anything. How he was killed by cutting his throat. There was no point in organizing an attack since the Emperor was taking the child with him. This time, the unknown people will definitely be able to get rid of the baby. It was already morning outside. The boy just woke up. They took him in a huge carriage to Joshua. A few days ago, a bright light illuminated the room. "Yes, Emperor, Joshua is not the best place to raise children," Riley stated. "You probably think it's littered with demon remnants and mana cores," he added. "The most valuable thing there is the corpse of the Demon King." "Ah, my body," thought the child. "This should have been said earlier." "Gaga," said the boy, which meant "look, uncle." He then dropped off to be taken to Joshua. "Isaac," Riley blurted out, unable to believe what he was hearing. Although the boy was being taken to the soldiers, he really wanted to get his corpse, a body that was able to increase its mana to the level of gods. The icing on the cake was that the boy saw the light of desire shine so brightly for the first time. "Why were the Pope's forces pursuing Isaac so fiercely?" asked one of the warriors. "Because they received a prophecy that said the saint would become a child of the gods," Relai replied. "That's why Barrett tries so hard to choose his saint." The Pope was a powerful cleric, capable of using holy spells. In the Holy Empire, his power was closer to that of the Emperor. For 1,000 years, Barrett has been producing popes, so it's no wonder they're going crazy at the thought of a saint stealing their power. Suddenly, the men were distracted from their conversation. They arrived at the duchy, but there was a problem. They were already waiting at the gate. The guards reported that the soldiers had no right to enter inside. "How dare you? You don't recognize our coat of arms, Joshua," asked Riley. "Of course you can't come in," the guard repeated. They wanted to destroy the child who inherited the blood of the saint. Suddenly, the guards turned into demons. They reported that their king had ordered them to kill saints and priests without hesitation. "In the name of our skeleton king, Isaac, we will kill you," one of the demons added. "If Joshua leaves them with the child, they will be spared." Suddenly, one of the demons was attacked. "Pitiful holy knight," another of the creatures blurted out. "How dare you say such words to the exorcist Joshua?" Riley wondered. "Listen carefully," he said. "To protect all the little things in this world, Joshua will destroy all evil." The warriors gathered to pursue their enemies to the very depths of hell in order to destroy their entire race. Riley couldn't believe that the evil skeleton used his subordinates to take over the body. Meanwhile, the enemies got closer. "All for the revival of our king," they cried. The warriors took up a defensive position. One of the fighters took the child and began to flee the battlefield. The boy felt like someone was impersonating him. The warrior and the child reached a safe place. "Sit here for a while," said the fighter, placing the baby on the grass. Then he used a protective barrier. Even high-ranking demons couldn't break through it. The boy looked at him with an engrossed expression. The desire to survive, to activate, to release magic, the kid blurted out. Then he began to listen to the call of his heart. One who is made of magic but watches. Ah, my venerable lord, the shadow with red eyes blurted out. She thought she would never see her master again. His name was Whisper. Isaac created a shadow to use detection magic. Gradually, Whisper developed a personality. I couldn't believe they put you in such a vile child, the shadow said. Enough, go and look for the enemy, the child told her. She could search within a radius of 100 meters. Then Whisper reported that the warriors were fighting 88 monsters. Damn, I have to finish this before I get caught, Joshua, the boy thought. Even if it takes all the accumulated mana. The number of enemies changed. Now there were 51 of them. Then 31. When there were just over 10 of them, one of the fighters reported that something was approaching. He has finally arrived, brother, the demon cried. The ranks of monsters were replenished. They seriously intended to take the saint's life. As soon as the demon opened his mouth, he was immediately attacked. This attack amazed the warriors. There were no more enemy forces left, the shadow declared. They were replaced by the Shadow Lich. If you dare touch my king, you will lose your life, he said. What the hell was wrong with him? The kid wondered. How could you trap him in a child's body? The creature asked. It was Isaac who freed him, and all the twisted attachments of the Shadow Lich exploded. Don't even look in his direction, the Lich threatened them. What does he say, sir? The warrior asked Relai. Wow, there looks to be a real mess there, said the shadow. All the knights, meanwhile, prepared for battle. At this time, the child was saying something incomprehensible in his childish language. Young master, wait until I sort everything out, the warrior shouted at him. The demon was glad that Isaac recognized him. Then, increasing speed, he flew towards the baby. He's heading towards Isaac, Riley worried. Vile knights, how dare you seal him in this body? The Lich was indignant. Come on, start by breaking the barrier, the kid ordered his subordinate. The demon was already very close. He hastened to attack the barrier. While the warriors were worried, the boy was only happy. Good job, he blurted out as the defenses were breached. Then he informed his protege that he could rest. Afterwards, something strange started to happen to my face. It began to transform into a hand. Is it possible, Riley said to this, that the baby totemized the monster? Well, isn't it a miracle that he managed to do it on the first try? The warrior intervened. Afterwards, they began to throw the boy up into the air as if he were the winner. It's strange, but I don't feel any holy power from him, said Relai. And that Lich rushed towards the child, sure that he instinctively sensed the danger and hastened to eliminate the source, the warrior reasoned. Our young master is simply magnificent, one of the fighters repeated. It was obvious that the demons were trying to kill the child, which meant there was something special about him, Relai continued. However, why is it a boy? Then the warrior decided. As captain of the Blue Order, I will protect Isaac, the fighter said. Then it suddenly dawned on Relai. He smiled and declared that he was a fool. This child has the potential to elevate the name of Joshua. Taking the child in his arms, he invited him to go home. Since the baby was talented, he was going to raise him to be an incredible knight. The boy didn't care about it. He wanted his body back. Relai continued to praise the boy. As soon as they got home, he was going to teach the boy how to curse the Skeleton King. After some time, the carriage reached the duchy. He was surrounded by huge, beautiful statues. This beauty was amazing. Damn, Joshua, they kill demons. But they live for their own pleasure. The kid was angry. After all, the skeleton worked until it went bald in order to feed its children. Shadow offered to sell a couple of sculptures in order to build a castle. This is Joshua's residence, and this is where the extermination of monsters began, Relai said. Then he showed something to the boy. These were children who were training. At this time, they were beating the effigy of the Demon King with sticks. At the same time, unflattering words were spoken about him. What are you teaching children? The little boy wondered. However, it didn't matter. The kid intended to infiltrate the Empire, burn the Emperor, and turn the place into Isaac's castle. Whisper was ordered to inspect the surrounding area. He hastened to fulfill it. Then both of them discovered mana cores. Afterwards, the carriage stopped. Rilai asked to clean his room because the child would live with him. But the workers had orders to transfer the boy to the annex, because the fifth young master said never to bring the young master into the main building. Damn, he wants to send Isaac to the damn place, Rilai said. My brother is playing the fool, the warrior reported. It turns out that there were mana cores in the annex where they wanted to send him. I can't let my nephew live with ghosts. Riley didn't calm down. Come with me, Isaac. I'll tell you about exorcism. He tried to interest. Why did you make so much noise about a child? Asked the unknown person. I ordered him to be sent to Perestroika, he added. Showing up after so much time? Do you want to go against your brother? The man asked. This was the fifth son, Howell Joshua. The boy was surprised to see him. After all, he looked like a hooligan. Put it down, it will go to the outbuilding, the fifth one ordered. Are you kidding me? He's a descendant of Joshua and he's going with me, Relai insisted. Aside, I'll read him the story of the expulsion of the Demon King. The warrior did not calm down. Listen, where did you get it? Asked Gowl. The boy liked the idea of going to the outbuilding, but he didn't like this bastard at all. The Manacores wouldn't have sucked themselves out. Do you really want people to think the child is cursed? Riley asked. The kid was going to suck everything out of the duchy, become daddy and take revenge on the gods. Gowl heard that demons were following this child. The fact that the creature came for him speaks to his importance. If you want to make him the next saint, then show him his power, insisted the fifth. Why don't you summon a meteorite? The shadow whispered. If you want to call him a saint, Gowl began. Then he looked towards the trees. Why not bring the symbol and family to life? After all, the holy cause perished because of the dark mana of the demons. If the boy is a candidate for sainthood, then it will be easy for him to revive the tree. Melissa fought well, but her descendants are complete idiots, the bastard declared. The first son disappeared, and the second was adopted. The child hugged his assistant. Then he threw it to the side. The tree has been dead for 70 years, and you want a child who can't talk to revive it. Suddenly something caught their attention. Something started happening to the tree. It instantly came to life, and it appeared before the brothers in all its glory. Even with the help of healing and cleansing magic, it was dying. The kid was happy with his little victory. There was some dark mana near the roots, and he absorbed it. Sir Riley, how did you do it? Asked the fighter. But he did nothing. It was the child's merit. The fighter, having learned about this, became very happy. Crazy, how did you manage that? Gowl clarified. As expected from the young master, they then began to throw the baby up into the air. You did it, the brother declared. A saint helped you, and then you pretended a child did it, the bastard insisted. How do you think I could have met the missing saint? Asked Riley. I'd rather believe that you are her reincarnation, Gowl said. The boy watched the argument between the two brothers with amazement. Do you think I don't understand? I brought this child here. Although we already have a candidate for sainthood, the fifth one was angry. You don't seem to be bothered by competition, the shadow said to its owner. Leave him alone. He is our nephew and the son of the first brother, Relai said. This brother abandoned us when danger arose, Gowl responded. And after that, he left his child with them. This bastard is also the son of a saint. We can't be sure he was born from his brother, the bastard added. Hearing this, Relai hit the fifth one in the face. Do you think you can carry your heresy? Asked the warrior. After this, the brothers began to fight, and the warriors tried to calm them down. Yes, the damned house is already falling apart, thought the kid. Won't you go down with him? Whisper asked. After a while, everything calmed down. The boy sat dissatisfied. Everything that happened made him very angry. Another one, what are we going to do with him? Was asked at the meeting. Since they had already accepted that peasant bitch, she should not have given birth to another useless boy. Silence, the unknown person intervened. Riley, we have decided to raise the child in a juvenile home that is away from prying eyes, said Hannah Joshua. She must have been the one who wanted to send me to the annex, Isaac thought. The matriarch asks you why you are silent, Riley. The fifth one was angry. There is no father, the warrior asked. He went to the city, all because of the situation with the candidate for sainthood, the woman answered. What a shame, Riley replied. He must have heard that Isaac had revived the holy tree. It's a coincidence. A small child is not capable of such a thing, the fifth one intervened. I think so too, the old woman said. Let's start with the fact that there is no evidence, Hannah said. The current matriarch is right. Others supported her. At this time, the boy stretched his hands forward, and then he began to conjure something. What they saw amazed everyone without exception. They watched the baby's actions closely. This energy, one of the meeting members whispered, it was the power of the sacred tree. Apparently, Isaac got rid of the mana that destroyed the tree. Some people couldn't understand how a child could cope with her. Perhaps he created a physical form from mana. This method of purification is not easy, the old man suggested. What are they arguing about? Babies aren't capable of that. Relai's brother was indignant. Isaac could have done it instinctively. The warriors intervened. The child who is now breastfed has done what others have been unable to do for 10 years. Elders, will you believe this nonsense? The fifth one asked, slamming his fist on the table. If anyone finds out about this, they will become a laughingstock. Look at him. He doesn't even look like Joshua, the guy yelled. Elders, listen to me. The child will become a saint, Relai declared. Moreover, perhaps the next pope. And he will also kill the demon king, the warrior blurted out, lifting the child above himself. You're digging your own grave, Henna said. If you are so sure, then we will test it, she added. She was going to use the divine relic storage, northwestern regions of the Holy Hellen Empire, Dark Forest. The monster was just defeated. The man stood around the defeated creatures. Such a mess, he said, sheathing his sword. Greetings to the patriarch, said the man who approached him. His confidant asked to use the storage of the divine relic. I told you the Holy See has no right to use it, the man stated. Then he learned that his grandson had brought the tree back to life. What do you mean? He asked. Why is there a saint in my house? The man asked. I don't allow it. Only a saint can survive once in that place. Tell them to stop fighting, Eli ordered. And without any exceptions. Was that Isaac? Asked the girl with long white hair who appeared. Revive the sacred tree. Impressive, she added. Melissa. Since we're opening the vault, why not check all the candidates for sainthood? The assistant clarified. Even the best saints of the generations could not take anything from there. Perhaps if someone manages to obtain the item, they will be able to track down the Demon King and kill him. Therefore, it would be better to set a prize for this. Tell them that the child who can bring back the best reward from the vault will receive a reward that even Dad cannot provide, said the maiden. He will receive the Joshua family heirloom. The girl will also personally teach you a secret technique. The winner takes absolutely everything. The vault was always guarded by one of the saints, and it is believed that Joshua was its owner. It was a kind of ritual when children would go in there and choose something for themselves. However, this place is dangerous, and candidates risk their lives when entering it after several deaths. The place was sealed. The shadow wondered whether our master would succeed in doing this. You are expecting this, aren't you, master? She asked. They say the body of the Demon King is there, the child said. Are you glad, young master? They asked the boy, taking him in their arms. The matriarch opened the vault to all candidates. All 5 houses are involved in this, even the damned family of the Pope. The more people, the greater the chances of the baby getting his body back. You must be careful, Isaac, said the warrior, for the demons guard the treasure. The boy was sure that they were all 6th rank or lower if they were caught. Then Riley mentioned the 8th rank. Although the 9th dragon is clearly worse, a comrade intervened. The Joshua family must be crazy to have creatures like that in a place like that. At least you know a lot about them, said the shadow. The baby was thinking only about what to do. There was one problem, after all. The dragons could recognize his soul. Well, there was no other choice. In the divine relic storage, there were creatures of the 8th and 9th ranks. The boy could barely cope with the 6th due to his current condition. To fight them off, it was necessary to take all the mana from Joshua's family. Afterwards, the boy left the place where he was sitting, and he went for a walk around the castle. Then Isaac sat down in front of the doors with notes in his hands. The shadow asked the gentleman if everything was okay with him. It was a book about how to exorcise the Demon King. If he knew how to control holy power, he would be able to learn it easily. Sir, you are using dark magic in the clergy center. You want to level the house with the ground, Whisper clarified. I don't understand anything because I don't know the theory, the kid said. Then the boy was picked up. It looked like it had been a busy day, Riley said. Children his age were supposed to sleep 16 hours a day. Riley held out his hand in front of the boy and used the holy spell of restoration. Now Isaac wanted the warrior to use an attack spell. You'd better get to the outbuilding quickly, the shadow ordered. It was necessary to get rid of the 2 warriors as quickly as possible. Sir Isaac falls asleep so quickly, the assistant noted. Amazing people, thought the shadow. Then the boy heard that the totem was dangerous and needed to be taken away. Isaac's first totem was to be guarded like the apple of one's eye. Damn, I need to pump the mana out of him, the kid thought. Now he has marked out his path to the extension. You really want this, Whisper clarified. The boy had a plan. As he approached the door, he discovered something. The door was locked with a spell, and if you break it, everyone will think that the baby was attacked. Then Isaac began to try to open the door on his own. And if he uses magic, then everything will become even more complicated. The kid didn't understand how I could escape from here. Suddenly a boy opened the door. He entered the room holding his hand, which was wrapped in it. He, Shuri, was 5 years old. He was Howell's son. Could this really be my rival? The kid thought. A totem that even I couldn't make. Shuri reasoned. This brat probably wouldn't have been able to do it either. The boy created a spell in his hand. I am the one who will become a saint, he declared. How can you desire what belongs to me? He asked the baby. In turn, Isaac used magic to hit the arrogant man with the nearest object. I have found someone who will carry me, thought the baby. It must be that bully's son, Isaac reasoned. He also saw him gathering holy mana to attack. Afterwards, the bastard's son was attacked by the baby. Just accept being my porter, Isaac yelled. And he continued to beat the 5-year-old. Some of the blows were deflected by magic. Wow, few people at that age can use 3rd-level holy magic, the kid thought. It's too early to be surprised, Shuri blurted out, for he used an attack of the same level, radiant clarity. Then he pointed it towards the baby. Isaac thanked his opponent for the free food. Because I absorbed this attack. Such a big protective spell, the 5-year-old screamed. The boy was curious as to who taught the little one this. Balls began to appear around the boy. They were approaching at great speed. To make fun of his opponent, Isaac began to point his finger at his opponent. Stop, Shuri shouted. But it was too late. The balls got him. Master, is it possible to kill him? Asked the shadow. I didn't even hit him, the young man replied. If you can't hit me, then you shouldn't have scared me, the hooligan's son yelled. You can't defeat me, he added. Then something appeared behind him. It was a lich who sought to protect its master. He asked the 5-year-old if he wanted to die. The boy was ready to burst into tears from fear. After this, the lich returned to its master. The kid decided to ask his opponent if he was really scared. Carry me, you bastard, Isaac ordered. When their argument ended, Shuri went outside. Standing under the tree, he vowed that he would become a saint. One day he will escape from the cursed house of Joshua and become pope. But something was bothering him. Why the hell is the little one bossing him around? Take me to the outbuilding, the baby commanded. Move before I finish you, the lich intervened. This frightened the 5-year-old boy even more. Then he decided to focus on staying alive. The boys set off on their little adventure. To the left, I said to the left, Isaac commanded at that time. If you don't want to die, then pull yourself together, the kid added. Having reached the right place, the cab driver stopped, and he turned his gaze to the small building. This was the second addition to the Joshua mansion, the haunted house. Shuri didn't understand why the kid had dragged him to such a dangerous place. Looks like several dozen died here, Whisper interjected. To accumulate that much mana, one would have to train for decades to the point of death. Let's go, brat, the kid commanded. Since the adults forbade going to this place, Isaac had to ask the lich for help to scare the boy. In a moment, they were inside. Only a small amount of light from the street entered the room. Inside, everything was in much worse condition. Suddenly, Isaac saw something interesting. The building was sealed. Each of the doors had something resembling a barrier on it. Let's go back, it's locked here anyway, suggested the 5-year-old. For this, the kid tried to pull out the boy's hair. Why are you doing this? The older one was indignant. Then the boys reached the portraits of past patriarchs. Do you want to take their place? Shuri asked. Then he said that it was pointless, since he would be next. After these words, Isaac threw a bottle with all his might at one of the portraits. The 5-year-old was amazed by what he saw. I didn't understand why the baby had such an attitude towards his ancestors. Why would anyone put barriers on portraits? The kid asked. Suddenly, Whisper appeared, announcing that all restrictions had been lifted. Afterwards, the baby left his cab driver, and he rolled head over heels away from the loser. The baby managed to open one of the doors with his body. Inside the room, there was a pile of boxes and barrels. Feeling the 5-year-old approaching, he asked Whisper to close the door. Wait a second, what are you doing? Shuri was indignant. Someone like you shouldn't know, Isaac replied. After these words, the door was closed. Well, let's begin, the kid blurted out. Get out of there, the boy shouted through the closed door. Then someone appeared behind him. It was Real with the elders. What are you doing here? Asked the adult. What were you thinking bringing Isaac here? The old woman intervened. Shuri made a face at this, as if he had nothing to do with it. But the adult saw how the little boy carried the toddler to this place. So all the responsibility fell on the shoulders of a 5-year-old child. Shuri, you've gone too far, Real said, placing his hand on the boy's shoulder. Where did you lock it? Asked the warrior. To which Shuri replied that Isaac had left on his own and closed the door behind him. Then Real began to persistently pound on the closed door. After a while, it opened. And on the threshold, they saw a crying little child. Oh my God, he looked scared. Someone from the crowd intervened. Real tried his best to calm the baby down. Then he turned his gaze to Shuri. and he said that he should be ashamed of his behavior. You all got it wrong, the child justified himself. But the warrior did not listen to anything and left. Isaac's face showed victory as their eyes met. What a bastard, Shuri exclaimed. At this time, the baby was happy with his find. He received as much mana as it would take him 100 years of training. With that amount, he would be able to bring this plan to life. Meanwhile, the next day had already arrived. They wanted to introduce Isaac to someone, with an assistant whose name was Asili. She was a paladin of House Joshua. She said that she would serve Isaac until her death. Did they really assign her to look after me after what happened? The boy thought. Hey you! The baby shouted at her. You're fired, get out of my sight, he blurted out. Both the maiden and Relai were amazed by what they heard. Then she came closer and asked the warrior for permission to squeeze the baby's cheeks. Then Relai remembered something and reached into his pocket, and he took out from there a gift for the baby from his uncle. How can this be called a gift for the gentleman's first birthday? Whisper was indignant. My God, isn't this a saint's relic? Asili intervened. Your uncle purchased it from the council especially for you, Riley informed him. Wow, it's real. The kid was amazed. The ring that the saints used in the battle against the Demon King. It contained a small miracle of God. The holy power stored within it was incredible. The kid could use it a few times before it broke, but Isaac knew how to fix it. Then the baby turned his gaze to the side. There he saw the fifth brother. His face expressed displeasure and perhaps a little envy. Ah, my little nephew Isaac, he blurted out. You are so beautiful, Howell squeezed out. I hope you're happy here, added the fifth. He must have gone completely crazy, the kid thought. The bastard broke the blessing device in the vault, but he didn't think the kid would get this relic. Since Isaac won't be able to receive the blessing, let's give him a ring, the elder suggested. Give her to Shuri, the father yelled. No, he has already received a blessing from the Holy See, the old woman replied. Hell, Isaac won't even understand her true value. The fifth one was angry. If you were going to give him something, you should have chosen a better gift, not this trash, Relai's brother said to him. How can you talk like that about such things? The warrior wondered. It was not worth giving such a useless thing to a child, Gowel said. The ring was imbued with blessings directly from the Holy See. It should have been of more use in the relic storage. Here, take it, and give me the old and dirty ring, said the brother. But Isaac was quick to react, and he hit the fifth one in the face with all his might. Then, closing the lid with a bang, he threw the second gift as far away as possible, saying that it was better to leave this for the dogs. The ring with the packaging fell into a nearby fountain. It looked 1,000 times better than the one I gave him, Riley thought. But he still chose mine. The warrior continued his reasoning. Then he reached out to the baby with his hands. I will give you the best, Riley shouted with admiration. At this time, the fifth and his men were looking for the ring. Isaac cast weight magic on the second gift, making it impossible to find. Then he ordered Whisper to pick up the relic at dawn, because this thing cost a fortune. Once in his office, Gowel slammed his snot on the table and said, Damn brat. He doesn't even know how much this thing costs, he continued. He was sure that the baby would not have been able to use these gifts properly anyway. In order to use the relic, it was necessary to absorb the holy power of 20 people. A task the fifth was sure was impossible for Isaac. He wondered if at least 10 people would come to his birthday party. The next day arrived. A crowd of people gathered at the main gate of the estate. Surprisingly, about 4,000 people came, Asili said. All the ducal families and more than a dozen marquis families arrived. Even neighboring countries sent their candidates for sainthood. Why are there so many of them? Did the gods get lazy and scatter them everywhere? The little boy wondered. Riley didn't expect so many people to come. Count Simon, the head of one of the 3 trade unions, appeared at the door and greeted his friend. Riley couldn't believe that the young man would be here too. Everyone realized that it was not a trap and decided to come. After all the weaklings from Joshua's house were here. Family put Joshua's family on the line. How could I miss this? Asked a friend. Even the Pope's family was planning to attend the event. He would never have come, Riley objected. I thought so too, because they don't love anyone except Barrett's family, Simon said. At this time, someone approached the door. The unknown person's hand touched the handle. There's a saying, nothing's as dangerous as a vulgar friend, Simon blurted out as the door opened. The man who entered replied that ancestors are never wrong. Bishop Barrett, Riley blurted out. It was immediately clear from the face of the newcomer that he was a bastard. To think that a weak man from Joshua's family would organize such an event, he said. He was interested to see a child who dared to declare himself a candidate for sainthood. "But I don't even see him," the bishop added. "This is a wonderful opportunity for you," Barrett blurted out. He prayed earnestly that the candidate for sainthood would exalt the name of Joshua's family. Was this a trick orchestrated by the Holy See, Riley wondered? The fact that the number of saints increased sixfold in a week raised questions. The only explanation is that the throne turns a blind eye to the fact that holy candidates appear out of nowhere. Once the children are placed in the vault, they will try to throw out the weakest one, trying to push the competitors aside. Then Isaac will be in danger. A boy from the Joshua family, except for his outstanding appearance and family reputation, was absolutely useless. However, for those who are eager to obtain Joshua's superior genes, or those who are trying to gain the favor of the Pope, who hates the holy race, this child was the perfect prey. Give this to the boy Joshua as a little prank, ordered those who did all sorts of dark deeds behind his back, so that the baby doesn't die but is unable to do anything. It was necessary to mix it with water and use the holy poison to teach the boy a lesson about how cruel the world can be, expose him to public ridicule, and proclaim that the child Joshua could never become a saint. But the baby did not suffer any ailments from the drink he received. "Guys, how much did he drink?" one of the children wondered. Isaac threw a bottle at one of the boys and ordered them to bring him more. Then he repeated his order. The one who was hit by the bottle began to cry and said that he wanted to go home. "Maybe I gave him the wrong bottle," the participant suggested. No one understood why the child continued to drain the bottle of poison. Someone wanted to approach the boy with serious intentions. It was Shuri. He snatched the bottle from the baby's mouth, and he gave him ordinary water instead of poison. But Isaac threw it in his face. "Give me the poison," the kid demanded from the other kids. "Are you crazy? This is sacred poison," one of the children blurted out. His girlfriend couldn't believe that the boy would give this to the child. "Yes, give it to me," the baby cried. He even had to fight for his treat. "It seems he has incredible resistance to poisons," one of the guys suggested. The white-haired boy continued to develop this idea, stating that a person could reach the level of natural poison breakdown by training his holy power. Shuri, listening to the ideas of his peers, understood that they were talking nonsense. Suddenly, someone approached him. It was a guy with white hair and amber eyes. "You mean to say that this is self-sacrifice?" he asked. "Kina Barrett, what is he doing here?" the boy wondered. After all, the Pope's family never participated in this event. The other guys were also very surprised to see him. It looked like the winner was already known. This boy was guaranteed to become a saint. All the other family members had hair that was a completely different color. There was nothing strange about a person from the Pope's family ending up in the vault. "For it belongs to our family," Kina declared. "I am here to take back what is rightfully ours," he added. Judging by his arrogance, he was from Papa's family, the kid thought. His holy power exceeded that of a bishop, as expected from a candidate for sainthood. "It's disgusting. What right do you have to abuse a child?" asked Kina. "It is impossible for a baby to be resistant to poisons. There must be a holy power trying to protect him. Stupidity runs in families," Isaac thought. "Don't worry, I will cleanse you of the poison," Kina said. "Wow, intoxication spells. He's clearly at least rank 5, the boy thought. He wanted to use the baby to show off his skills. Realizing this, Isaac hit the bastard with the bottle as hard as he could. After this, the holy power disappeared. Barrett looked at the baby in amazement. How could this happen, Kina wondered. Is he really stronger than me, he thought. Curses directed at Isaac immediately began to form in his head. "Why are you looking at me?" asked the kid. He intended to pierce the white-haired man's skull with a bottle, but he was stopped immediately. He hit the one who tried to save him. How ugly. It was Shuri. He tried to calm the little one down. "It's okay, he's still a child," Barrett's family member replied. Then he wished Joshua's children good luck. He added that they should return with at least some crap, so as not to disgrace their family. The best treasure should have belonged to him. After all, Joshua doesn't even have the right to touch the Demon King's body. How disgusting he is, Shuri thought. "What did that blonde bastard just say?" asked the kid. The 5-year-old child did not understand what had come over the fry. The head of the family promised to pass on the secret technique to the one who brought the body of the Demon King. Hearing this, the baby was taken aback. Then he began to mumble something unintelligible. No one will dare to mock his body. Afterwards, he began to look for the remaining drops of poison in the bottles. Many centuries of mana have accumulated in his body. Finding it would mean that reaching rank 10 would not be a problem. But now that everyone was looking for him, there was no way to drag him away. Okay, I'll step over anyone who gets in my way, thought the kid. Everyone gather, Isaac suddenly heard. The elder came to tell us something important before leaving. Damn, he's talking about history. At this rate, we'll grow old here ourselves, the kid thought. He got bored and tried to crawl away from there. Shuri tried to stop him, but suddenly there was a roar and dust rose. Everyone was scared for this little one. Isaac, meanwhile, used his high walking speed to get to the body first. No, this is a restricted area, the elder intervened. If a child goes there, the traps will be activated. Then all the boys ran after him. Meanwhile, the adults were in the banquet hall of Joshua's residence. I hope the young master is all right, Asili said. One of the banquet members exclaimed at this time that they had managed to establish a connection with the inner space. The familiars were following the third-place candidate, so they would see everything now. The door to the first vault opened and the test began. In third place was Armin Age. His father was overjoyed. Shuri Joshua took the honorable second place. And in first place, the man said uncertainly. Relai and her assistant were shocked when they heard. The first, oddly enough, was Isaac. Please, not there, the elder yelled, because even more traps are activated. If the baby goes there, in all this confusion, the children begged for mercy. Crazy, why did you go there? Shuri shouted after Isaac. Because of the baby, the other participants had to dodge the traps that were set for the attackers. Meanwhile, the kid reached the storage room. Amazing, Master. Thanks to the mana you absorbed in the annex, I have received a boost, Whisper said. Excellent, now you will work harder, the kid replied. Now go and get it, the Shadow Boy ordered. Meanwhile, the children discussed the difficulty of this activity. That's why the saint is so powerful, one of them said. One of the boys pointed to the levitating guy and asked if that wasn't Joshua's baby. I think his name was Shuri. His family must have taught him to fly beforehand. The children were envious. In fact, the boy was flying against his will. A dark spirit was controlling him. Then Whisper threw the guy at the boy's feet with the words, I brought you an informant. Stop this madness, Shuri begged. You must overcome your fear and choose the difficult path to develop the feeling in yourself. But before he could finish speaking, the kid used an electric shock on him. Never mind, explain what's in the second vault, Isaac asked. Shuri, having lost all his strength, muttered something unintelligible in response to this question. Then, gathering his strength, he blurted out that as soon as the kid entered inside, he would not be allowed to attack anyone, for this was the only way to get into the vault. What nonsense, it looks like a test of my patience, thought the kid. Someone actually died from it, Shuri added. Okay, not much of a problem overall, Isaac replied. 3 minutes won't be a problem, the boy added. The system then congratulated him on entering the floor of equanimity. Patience is a virtue and a cold reason. Keep calm and remain steadfast, she commanded. For only patience will lead to light. Meanwhile, the rest of the guys walked slowly. You do understand that we are the last ones? One of them asked. There is no need for us to go down a dangerous path, said a member of the Barrett family. There was an 8th-rank demon standing at the entrance to the second storage, so the guys were sure that those in front would definitely get stuck there. You see, he asked the black-haired kin. In the distance, they saw a vault opening. This meant that the test had begun. The door that opened a little told the boys not to lose heart. These words confused Isaac a little. The outline of a man began to appear before them. He looked like the gods the skeleton met in the kingdom. 3 seconds later, the baby fried him too. Shuri was stunned by what he saw. I immediately remembered the boy's words, how he said that 3 minutes would not be a problem for him. Then he screamed at the top of his lungs, saying the baby was crazy. How I should have remained patient when I saw the face of God, the little boy thought. The system was quick to report that the guys had failed. Divine punishment will be carried out. The boys were left to watch as a huge golem appeared above them. It's over, I've had enough, Shuri screamed. At this time, Isaac began to prepare a spell. It grew bigger and bigger. A moment later, he released it at the huge creature that appeared. The hooligan's son was stunned by what he saw, for the baby's attack pierced the monster right through. Who are you, Shuri asked himself, looking at the baby. As a result, the golem was defeated. And this is the 8th rank, you're kidding, the kid thought. The golem was created by the magic of his subordinate. The Skeleton King's elite warriors are 14 familiars. This is their distinctive type of magic. I wonder if they work for Joshua's family or if it has something to do with my body, the kid thought. This is what the baby was about to find out. Suddenly, Shuri became curious about where Isaac had gone. Suddenly, someone said, I didn't think Joshua's family would do us a favor. The boy leaned against a bush of grass. His name was Nizer, and he exclaimed that he knew from the very beginning that those two knew how to solve the puzzle. "Thank you for killing the gatekeeper, but now it's time for you to step aside and let us through," the red-haired man stated. So many survivors, Isaac thought. "I never thought you were capable of such abomination," Nizer added. "You work with him, don't you?" he asked Shuri, pointing his finger at the boy. "Not really," replied the fifth son. "Do you think this kid knew how to dodge traps?" The red-haired man asked another question. Then he was attracted by the ring that hung around the boy's neck. Without a twinge of conscience, Nizer tore it from Isaac's neck. "Now we will be able to dodge all the traps," the guy boasted. The boy's inaction made Shuri nervous, because the boy was not the type to allow anything to be taken away from him. "Eat your dust, Joshua," the red-haired man blurted out at last. The third son of the Crimson Duke's family intended to retrieve the body of the Skeleton King. He was confident of his victory. Suddenly, Nizer stepped on the pressure plate, and at that very moment he was engulfed in flames. "Isaac, what is this?" Shuri wondered. The kid used these fools as bait. The flames had meanwhile dispersed, and Shuri had to carry the baby on her back. All the traps in this place were destroyed thanks to the red-haired man and his team. But there was something that was bothering the boy. 3 guys were chasing them at that time. "He must have some kind of divine feeling," said the black-haired boy. "Probably because he comes from a family of saints, his friends supported. It seems they have realized your greatness, Master," the shadow said. "Run before it's too late. This guy is scarier than demons," Shuri thought. "If there really is a saint, he will be someone like you," said the unknown man. It was Perry Julius. The kid caught himself thinking that his new friend looked useful. "Isaac," Shuri said suddenly. Stopping, he added that they had arrived. A door to the third storage appeared in front of the boys. "Welcome, candidates," the system said. The boys ended up on the memory floor. "It was time to show your courage and determination. It's good that we went after him and not Nizer. The body of the Skeleton King will be ours," a voice was heard behind Shuri. The test was simple: win and gain glory. At that moment, the baby thought about something. Then his face changed dramatically. He smiled, realizing that this was going to be a lot of fun. The rest of the boys looked questioningly into the distance. Isaac's decision was always right. The gatekeepers are lying. The first one was about choice. The baby just skipped it. Second, with calm. Isaac was not calm at all. The third was related to memory. Under no circumstances should they be attacked. "Everyone step back," the kid ordered. Was there really something saintly about Isaac now? Shuri wondered. Perhaps he had misunderstood Isaac all this time. But it was not to be. The baby attacked one of the angels with a fireball. Shuri didn't understand what had happened at first. One of the gods began to mutter something under his breath. Then, pointing the gun forward, he blurted out that the children had made the wrong choice. "After this, I decided to attack them." The kids had a hard time dodging the fire attacks. Shuri and Isaac just stood nearby and watched it. The fifth brother's son looked at the boy in bewilderment. "Damn, he really is crazy," Shuri thought. It's been a while since Isaac saw his opponents. "It was foolish to trust other people's words so easily, candidates," blurted out one of the former angels, false puppets that were created by the magic of 14 familiars. "Show these brats how hard life can be," the kid screamed. Shuri was already not happy with the fact that he had gotten himself into this. The former angels continued to attack the children. Where did Joshua go? They were here just a minute ago, the guys wondered. Thanks to the invisibility spell, it was difficult to find the two. The third one who was affected by the spell appeared. It was Perry. He thanked the baby for this. Then Isaac tossed the ring to his new friend. Family member Julius began to examine him. "You're giving me this because I'm not used to fighting demons," he asked. He swore that he would not forget this kindness. Before Perry could finish speaking, energy began to emanate from the ring, which harmed the guy. The kid with Whisper could do nothing but laugh at this situation. "Uncle, what kind of monster have you brought into our family?" Shuri thought. The guys were asked, "Which of you can use protective holy power?" "I'll use it first," one of the guys said. "Stay behind," the black-haired man ordered. "Take your punishment," the angry opponent yelled. "Now he's attacking," shouted the black-haired man's comrade. Then he began to create an attack ball in his hand. But something went wrong and the boy fell. "Hey, what happened?" asked the friend. A ring shrouded in flames appeared next to the black-haired man. Afterwards, the black-haired man began to lose his energy. One of the enemies looked at the guy in bewilderment. "Is there anyone else who bought this lie?" he asked. The ring absorbed the holy power of all the children. At this time, Whisper began to follow the actions of the others. "Don't be offended, kids," thought the baby. but the lying puppet does not attack neutralized enemies. "Master, it's almost ready," Whisper said. Suddenly, a large fireball appeared in the air. He hit one of the kids. At this time, the Whisper returned to its owner. Suddenly, someone unknown appeared and said that he had finally found Isaac. It was a member of Barrett's family, Kina. "I was wondering where you disappeared to," Isaac thought. "Holy shit, of course I knew he was a genius," Shuri thought. A huge phoenix appeared on the field. It belonged to a member of the Barrett family. Summoning the Holy Spirit at that age was something. "Did you trap the children like in the first test?" the white-haired man asked. "If this is so, he tried to pass the test for us, even told us which direction to go, and other guys joined in. They began to praise the baby. "Aren't you ashamed to call yourselves candidates for sainthood?" asked Kina. "Hey, you've been hiding all this time, but you act like you did something," said the guy with black hair. They were going to tell their parents about this as soon as they got out of here. They intended to add that they were following Joshua's family. Without them, the guys would have had big problems. Suddenly, something caught their attention. A huge bright ball hung in the air. Nobody knew what would happen next. Since the doors to the third vault were open, the test could be considered complete. The ball-shaped system congratulated the children on passing the second test and informed them that the final gatekeeper stood before them. Then he gave the boys a choice: or choose a treasure and finish the challenge here, or go further to go to the third storage. So you had to choose wisely. The guys, without exception, all began to think, if they pass the tests, they will find treasures. But if not, only death awaits the guys. Judging by the mana, the dragon was explaining this to the boys. This meant that what he said about death was true. Black yelled that he really wanted to pass the test. It wasn't for nothing that they had come here for so long. His friends supported him, saying that if they found the treasure, they would become saints. All of them wanted to get into the third vault. "So you go further, regardless of the danger?" asked the ball. "Okay, then it's decided," he added. He said that he had already prepared a test for the children. Then he fell to the ground. After the dust rose, the boys started coughing. "The last test is quite simple," thought the kid. "Offer a prayer to your god," the system said. The boys didn't understand where another statue came from. Only those who have proven their faith have the right to go to the third repository. "We just need to bend the knee," one of the guys said uncertainly. No way, Isaac thought. He wasn't about to kneel before the son of a bitch who had turned him into a baby. "There's nothing complicated about it, let's do it," the black-haired man suggested. Then he did as he planned. "To our supreme lord, worthy of all glory and honor, your servant offers his respects," said the boy. "You studied well." The statue answered his prayer. Then she added that he passed the exam. Isaac left Shuri's neck at this time. After Shuri's words about prayer, the little boy hit his driver. Then he looked at one of the guys with a displeased look. "At the Holy See, I was taught to pray correctly," said Kina. Then he dropped to one knee, and he showed the others the correct posture for prayer. "I want to do the same," the other guys chimed in. "What are you waiting for?" the statue asked them. "You surrender and accept death," she added. Most of them hastened to bend the knee. The statue looked questioningly at one of them, and she asked Isaac why he didn't kneel. The guys didn't understand what was wrong with him. It appears the rumors that Joshua's family is losing faith are true. Did he really want to lose his chance to become a saint? Kina thought. Even with great talent, it is useless without faith. Such behavior is highly disrespectful to the saint's family. "I'd rather die than kneel before this piece of shit," the kid thought. "Just kill me," Isaac blurted. The statue's face changed after hearing this. "Blasphemer, be gone," she added. "Go to hell." The kid didn't calm down. The kid was radically minded and was going to destroy the statue. His fists filled with red energy. "Excellent," the system suddenly said. The kid was amazed by what he heard. The statue then announced that only Isaac had passed the test. "How can this be?" "He didn't even pray," Kina shouted. "This child is the only one who can pass through this door. Only he has shown his faith in God." "You really don't understand," the system asked. They knelt before the statue, not before the god himself. "Is your faith really just kneeling before an idol?" the system asked. The fifth son's face changed from what he heard. The guys started shouting that they had been deceived. The statue offered to look at the child. Even in the face of fear, he did not give in and kept his faith. Therefore, only he can enter the sanctuary. "I can't accept this," Kina exclaimed. "He can't speak. It's quite possible that he didn't even understand what you said," the white-haired man screamed. "They are right in some ways," Whisper said. "Moreover, if the child had such faith, how he can have a stigma? How can a candidate not have a stigma?" the kid thought. Kina turned his gaze to the baby. He was the only one who didn't have the necessary sign, the white-haired man thought. A candidate for sainthood without stigmata, you say, said the sculpture. Because he's still a baby, she added. In response to this, Kina looked at the statue in bewilderment. Wait, you could have been moving all this time, he yelled. Understand? You didn't get the mark because you're special, the system said. Then she asked if everyone really wanted to get into the vault. The answer was affirmative. There was nothing to be done. The statues had to let absolutely everyone in. Shuri didn't understand why he let us in there so easily. If the guys want to jump into the fire like moths, then so be it. The statue will let them in. After these words, the doors began to open slowly. And from there, a frightening dark energy began to seep out. The boys felt uneasy from the feeling she was giving them. This is the dark mana that emanated from the Demon King's body. The statue planned to spare those who could bear it. The baby, feeling her, was delighted. All his thoughts were occupied with the fact that he would finally gain access to his past body. He couldn't imagine that such a day would come so soon. God, there was so much dark mana seeping from within, he thought. Look at the child who has proven his faith. This is the face of a courageous warrior, the statue said. His eyes lit up, the black-haired man thought. It was not too late yet. Those who were unable to smile in the face of death could turn around and walk away. If someone loses now, they can take the item from the second storage. Let's not go there, suggested the black-haired man's friend. It's better to simply choose the most beautiful item from the second one. No, I don't need the things from the previous storage, Kina intervened. We're going to the third, he added. Activate all traps, the white-haired man asked. He's crazy, he's serious. The guys were perplexed. None of the saints managed to return the body of the skeleton knight. Even the sacred Melissa could not. She would not have allowed any of the children to die. I don't want to hear that we found the treasure without any problems, Kina blurted out. Therefore, I ask you to return the storage facility to its original state, he added. It seems he has gone crazy, the boy thought. If you ask so, then good, the system answered the prayer. This will make it easier to determine who will become a saint. Go alone, Comrade Kina blurted out. You don't need to take us with you at all, he added. Dark mana began to lift the children into the air. Suddenly, a bony hand appeared. Look over there, Whisper blurted out. After his words, he hurried to rush towards her. This hand belonged to the Skeleton King. It has been absorbing energy from the third storage all this time. One hand was emitting so much mana that the picture frightened the boys. Not the whole hand, just the thumb. Everything else is a copy. Then something strange started happening to my hand. A demon suddenly burst out of her. I thought they didn't show up after the second test, one of the guys screamed. At this time, the baby noticed something strange. You insects, how dare you covet the body of my king? The horned one screamed. It's all because of you, the black-haired Kina accused. Trust me, I will make sure that everyone leaves here with treasures, the white-haired man answered. 14 familiars. Elite subordinates trained by the Skeleton King and fools captured by the Pope's family. Kina prepared a sacred spell that would work against the creature. The guy's eyes filled with determination and courage. On your knees, said the white-haired man. Wow, this is the light of Dad's family, the boy said. Okay, that worked, Kina blurted out happily. Is it you? The horned guy asked. The white-haired man just looked at the monster in bewilderment. You, the one who desired to obtain the body of my king, asked the demon. Meanwhile, the entrance to the relic storage. The adults were perplexed as to what was going on there and why the connection had been interrupted. Big trouble, one of them exclaimed. The demon seal in the third vault was destroyed. Rai, this is one of the 14 familiars, his comrade asked. Damn, the kids are in great danger, thought the elder. The elders who were supposed to be looking after the children tried to disable the traps, then disappeared. We have to stop the test and save the children, one of the adults screamed. Then a huge ball appeared behind his back. He blinded absolutely everyone present. Is the relic vault opening, Rai said. What was this intense light, he wondered. Everyone retreat, mana may leak out, the man blurted out. One of the elders stated that he did not feel the presence of a demon. The adults wondered if he had really been defeated. Relai, could this be? The warrior's friend blurted out. Kina Barrett, as expected from Dad's family. After this, everyone began to congratulate the boy's father. My son did a great job, he said. Then he turned his gaze. Joshua, this is the end of your foolish disobedience to the Pope's authority. Such a thought was born in his head. Now that he has the body of the Skeleton King, the rest can only bow their heads before him. Look, the children are coming out, he suddenly blurted out. Relai was amazed by what he saw. He said the names of Isaac and Shuri. He wanted everything to be okay with them. The first outlines of children began to appear. After a while, they all came out of the portal. Some were injured, but there were no serious injuries. But the children who entered the third vault have still not returned. This situation made Relai think. Suddenly, they announced that the last group of children was approaching. Everyone the warrior was so worried about was perfectly fine. The parents, seeing them, hurried to find out how their children were doing. The fifth brother immediately rushed to his son, Shuri. I started asking him if he was wounded or not. Relia was only concerned with one question: where was Isaac? Could it be that he is not with them, he thought? Kina, a member of the Barrett family, said quietly, "What is that in your hand?" he asked his child. "Where is the Demon King's body?" the man added. Then, changing his tone, he asked who had ordered the white-haired man to bring such a useless thing. A ball appeared in the sky, blinding everyone present. "Look over there!" One of the men pointed. It was a wolf, holding the little one by the pajamas in his teeth. Riley was stunned when he saw this, for this was his long-awaited Isaac. The warrior and the nanny hurried to the baby. "Isn't it a wolf?" the maiden blurted out. "A young guardian dragon who guards the relic vault." She was right, thought Riley, looking the wolf in the face. Despite its form, its spirit belonged to a holy dragon. Then they were attracted by some sound coming from Isaac. The baby had something in his mouth that he was sucking on. The elders guessed what it was and were perplexed. It was the body of the Skeleton King. "You can't put everything in your mouth," the old man thought. "He did it, brought the body of the Demon King," exclaimed another old man. Kina understood that he had lost and that punishment awaited him. The father asked him if the white-haired man had really given the king's body to the child. It wasn't exactly a smart tactic. Rather, by the mercy of a saint, in order to save the face of the owner. "What nonsense are you talking about? It was none other than this child who claimed the body of the Demon King," Riley said. Kina's father was shocked by what he heard. "Why?" the white-haired child said quietly. He didn't understand why his spell didn't work then. "Insects," the demon blurted out when the magic failed. Kina and the boys were overcome with fear. It seemed to them that in another second they would die. Everyone started running away except the white-haired one. Afterwards, an explosion occurred on the battlefield. Kina closed his eyes to avoid injury. It turns out that he and the others were protected by a barrier. The color blue meant only one thing, that it was created by Joshua's child. "You vile churchman dare to covet the body of the great Demon King," the monster screamed. Then he attacked the barrier again. The kid decided not to waste time and also went on the attack. During the fight, he asked the horned one if he really didn't recognize his master. Then everyone was interested in the question of what Kina did. "The dragon is too dangerous," said Riley. "Why did you remove the seal, since 14 familiars are far from being something that children are capable of fighting?" he asked. The wolf looked at the man carefully. "That white boy asked me to do this," the spirit confessed. "Exactly, it's him," the children confirmed. "Does this mean that our children almost died because of him?" The adults were indignant. By the way, it seems that a member of Joshua's family won against the child's father. This news caused anger in Barrett. Rumors that Joshua's family was returning turned out to be true. At this time, the elders asked the boy to spit out the bone. But he didn't want to carry out this order at all. Due to the large amount of mana, he was able to absorb it soon. Isaac has done a great job and the matriarch will be happy to hear it. Then the grandmother smiled frighteningly. Now they could finally track down the soul of the Demon King. Isaac didn't like what he heard at all. "So that's why they needed my body," he thought. The old people wanted the baby to give them his finger. The thought that they wanted to catch the Skeleton King scared him. "Give it to us. We can finally resolve a century and a half of grievance," said one of the old men. Then the baby finally landed on the ground. And he looked at the old people with displeasure. Knocked off on the head, he thought. Events moved to the estate. The elders were bending over something. In what came out of the child, they tried to find the necessary finger. "You can search all day, but you won't get anywhere," Isaac thought. He was more worried about what happened in the relic storage. After he attacked the horned one, the outcome of the battle was obvious. The kid defeated his former subordinate. "Is it you?" Master the Demon asked, sensing the mana. Hearing the news of his death, he thought that the world had come to an end. He added that he wanted to serve his master again. "Damn, before he dies, I need to ask him a couple of questions," the kid thought. Those who caught the horned one were from Dad's family, so the baby needed to be checked. "Isaac, please go to the toilet again." Relay distracted him from his thoughts. What nonsense, thought the boy. If the matriarch finds out, she may give the order to dissect the boy. There was also a time when she ripped open one of her sons. "Didn't Melissa go on a pilgrimage with the matriarch?" Whisper asked the owner. "Yeah, it looks like I need to absorb all the mana and run away before she arrives," Isaac thought. Relai was rather distracted by his comrade, for the matriarch summoned him to her. Never before had she returned from a pilgrimage so early. "Damn it, why are they so early?" The kid was indignant. "Because he hasn't finished absorbing the mana yet. Knowing Melissa, she'll definitely give him an autopsy." Golden riches were spread out before the elders. These were all gifts for Isaac. Riley thought that the matriarch herself had come. She sent a message that she would return with the patriarch. It turns out that Dad also sent gifts. "Sell everything," the old man ordered, to which the guy replied that the messengers would hear them. The emperor was extremely interested in this event. It was prepared by the Pope's people as a sign of apology and gratitude to the family of Joshua. "You don't seem to be thrilled with your dad's gifts," he said. What he wanted to show them, they would obviously like. Riley and the others were amazed by what they saw. The old man was familiar with this gift. It was a triple crown, a disgusting sign with the Pope's seal. A medal from Dad it can't be, thought the little boy. Sir Riley was tense. The gift was intended for Isaac. If he is for me, then why are they giving him to my uncle? The child did not understand. When asked if they told him to give it to me, Riley received a positive answer. Moreover, the man was even ordered to ensure that it was the warrior who received this gift. Riley was beside himself with what he heard. "You are giving away what belongs to a baby. Are you out of your mind?" One of the elders was angry. "Transferring the medal to another family member symbolizes the death of the one who took it." "Oh, please don't misunderstand the Pope's intentions," said the messenger. "Since Isaac is still too young, it would be better if this gift were kept by a trusted person for now." "Don't Dad's people know that a sunflower symbolizes a dead person?" the old man continued. "Damn him for daring to mock us," Grandma chimed in. "Elders, let's not rush," suggested the fifth brother. "You think we need to relax, Howl?" the old man yelled. "It may look like open hostility, but making a mountain out of a molehill won't do the family any good. This was probably the cardinal's doing. He was close to their family, but it was still somehow indecent. So Riley and this spawn won't be able to achieve much. So much the better for me," reasoned the fifth. He told the warrior to accept the gift and be grateful. "This won't do," thought the kid. The messenger looked questioningly at the baby. The gift began to emit blue energy. She burned his hands and the gift box fell to the floor. The fifth brother was very surprised by this. A blue ball, a holy flame, appeared in the air. "A medal," said one of Joshua's family members. The baby, meanwhile, reached out to her. Isaac's face showed that he was up to something. The medal was presented by the Pope. "Are you planning to rebel?" asked the messenger. "You mean to say that we did this on purpose?" The old woman was indignant. "The accident happened before he received the gift, so we will act as if we never received anything at all," the warrior declared. "Or, if you so wish," he continued, "we must accept the medal sent by Dad, even if it was melted by the flame of a child," finished Relai. The elders were shocked to hear that the artifact had been altered by the child's actions. "Give it back. I probably brought the wrong one," the boy blurted out. Suddenly, blue flames began to appear on his body. In a moment, it enveloped his entire body. "Oh my God, little Isaac loves to play." The old folks joined in. After the attack, the messenger grabbed his back because it hurt. "Damn, Joshua!" the boy screamed, running out of the room. "Good job, Isaac," the old man said, picking up the baby. He then ordered his assistant to get rid of the vile metal. If only the matriarch could see the face of this sycophant dad now, the elder laughed. "Excellent idea, Riley, using the holy flame," he blurted out. "Don't cover yourself. It was you who cast the sacred fire," the old man clarified. "Didn't you do this?" asked the blonde. At this question, the elder looked at Relai with bewilderment. Then everyone turned their gaze to one point. They looked at Isaac. A secret scripture, a legendary treasure that allows you to instantly learn and cast a spell. It was a good idea for the baby to take him out of storage. Did his mother really use this spell? "No, she is the complete opposite of this magic," the old man said. "It wasn't a matter of talent. It's the same as writing poetry without learning how to do it." Suddenly, Isaac's nanny appeared and asked the elders if it wasn't more surprising that he was able to destroy the Pope's blessing. "True," the old men asked in chorus in surprise. Then the grandfather started screaming for them to bring him this medal. But the news was sad. She was not found. "I threw it away," said the fifth brother. The old man completely forgot that he had given the order to get rid of the artifact. "In that case, gather people and go look for her," the elder ordered. "To melt the Pope's medal, which is supposedly made of non-meltable metal." The Joshua chiefs weren't supposed to hear about this, thought the fifth one, hiding the medal in his pocket. They won't be able to confirm anything without evidence. Gowel continued to reason. A few days later, west of the Joshua Duchy, someone in a long cloak approached the edge of the ledge. It was a huge, majestic man in a dark robe. He told his men not to relax as the mansion was close. Suddenly, something caught his attention. In the depths of the water, the old man noticed something familiar. Meanwhile, at Joshua's mansion, the elders were stunned as they looked at the baby. The body of the Skeleton King still did not come out of the child. During this time, the guy drank 300 bottles and ate 500 fruits. The latter could increase closeness with the holy beasts in the future. The boy would need them to defeat his father and the gods. Joshua's house had one of these too. Suddenly, something really surprised Isaac. The outline of a ghostly whale appeared before him. Someone's voices began to be heard from behind the door of the baby's room. A white-haired old man appeared in the doorway. The elders, seeing him, immediately began to bow, expressing their respect. Could this really be my grandfather, the little boy thought, looking at the old man? Isaac had a good feeling, for the patriarch exuded survival. "Father, give us more time. Cutting open the baby's belly won't solve anything," Riley said. After listening to his son, the old man looked at the baby. "Send him to the fire," the white-haired man suddenly blurted out. The kid was taken aback by what he heard. "No, father, you can't do that," Riley intervened. Isaac was too young to be sent to such a place. "Please, father, come to your senses," the son asked. "If you throw the baby into the fire, you will be able to extract the body of the Skeleton King, and he will also become stronger thanks to the blessing of fire. Please give us more time," Riley asked. "Or better yet," he suddenly shouted, and then he suggested throwing Isaac into the water. "This will not happen. The flame and water of the temple are the secret treasures of the house of Joshua. It is foolish to use them on a baby," the fifth brother blurted out. "Everything he opposes is good for me," thought the child. "Sure, he is perfect for this, since he defeated the demon in the temple." That was Brother Riley's opinion. "You're lying. It was Isaac who did this," the white-haired man blurted out. How could a baby cope with something like that? Gowel wondered. To which Riley advised his relative not to go too far. The child even had enough strength to burn his father's treasure, he added. "A medal," the old man said suddenly. Having shown it to the guys, he asked if this was the one they were talking about. The only one who had a connection with heaven was Dad, and the object that was imbued with the blessing of this figure is gold. "I couldn't melt it so easily when I was the Demon King." "How did that happen?" the kid wondered. Perhaps he became stronger in his new body. How you found her, Riley didn't understand. To which the old man replied that he had found her on the way to this place. She was at the bottom of Lake Eliseva. "Father, look, the child's power is so great that he was able to melt the symbol," the boy said. "Many citizens have suffered greatly at the hands of the Demon King, who still lurks in the shadows. If this problem is ignored, a new era of dark chapter will begin. It looks like your imposters are causing mayhem," the shadow whispered in the baby's ear. She just wanted to add something else. How she was interrupted by Riley, who informed her that the Demon King had destroyed everything in Joshua's house 70 years ago. Isaac's mouth dropped open in surprise. He did this by declaring that he wanted to break the line of holy blood, a thought that made the boy's blood boil. "It couldn't have been you, Master," the shadow said. "The curse of the average demon is nothing more than child's play. Even if it doesn't kill us, it poisons our lives with erectile dysfunction or stunted growth. There were many who lived their entire lives without a single hair on their heads," said the old woman from the elder's branch. "I'll kill this bastard," the kid thought. "Damn it," the white-haired old man suddenly said. "His eyes are red. He is cursed too," he added. "Fire and water were not enough. I will give him the Holy Spirit," the old man suddenly said. Everyone, including the baby, was taken aback by what they heard. It could only be obtained by free will. How lovely, Isaac thought. He was going to surpass everyone with the help of the Spirit and give the gods a hard time for what they did to him. "Father, this is too much," Gowel intervened. "It is passed on only to those who brought glory to the estate of the house. Even if Isaac did manage to melt the metal, it was simply a vulgar symbol of hostile intent." The old man looked at Gowel with displeasure. "What did you do when they sent this gift?" asked the white-haired man. "The heavens dared to insult us in their own home. How can you defend them?" he added. "What have you done except try to belittle your nephew?" the old man persisted. "Even animals protect their family. Joshua's house stands on the principle of protecting the weak. A small child whom we must cherish and nurture. Isn't this an example of honoring the name Joshua?" the old man clarified. Then he ordered everyone to be called from the main house, for he intended to give Isaac a blessing. Several days passed. "You're not just going to give it to him." "What do you mean?" Riley asked. "If we put the baby in fire or water, he will suffer," the white-haired man stated. "The anti-demonic properties of fire or water are too strong. He will not be able to master the rites of exorcism. Then Isaac will remain at rank 4 forever." The old man was going to give the baby a choice. "Of course, I knew that the Holy Spirit would not be given to him just like that," thought Gowell happily. Afterwards, the white-haired man laid the balls in front of Isaac. "Choose white," Relai repeated in his head. The boy's hand almost touched one of the artifacts. Without thinking twice, he grabbed the red one. Then he thoughtfully raised it above his head. "Well, don't be too upset," said the fifth brother. "The fourth rank is not bad either." Suddenly, the red ball began to crack. A monstrous fiery energy burst out from him. The outlines of a maiden began to appear. Riley seemed to recognize her. It was he, the Holy Spirit. Some of the old people began to run out of the room in panic. "Father, why was the spirit in the red ball?" Gowell asked in bewilderment. Nobody said that the Holy Spirit would be one. The roots of Joshua's house are in the water, but the child created a flame so powerful that it melted the father's gold. "I hit a trap, but he made the right choice," the old man said. But what happened shocked even the white-haired man. "Eli Joshua, you've gone completely nuts," the spirit screamed. "How dare you summon me to the human world?" The maiden did not calm down. Her eyes turned red and expressed hatred for all living things. Then the maiden's body was enveloped in a fiery cloak. "Use protective spells," the elder ordered. "Father, why did you call her? Do you really want to burn our lands?" Gowell wondered. "It wasn't me," the old man replied. Then he pointed his finger at Isaac. "That brat did it," the white-haired one added. This place had every chance of becoming his grave. The spirit still did not calm down. The kid didn't understand how the hell the royal rank came about. Then he became curious about what would happen if he had put in all the effort. Anti-demonic flame, Isaac thought suddenly. It was capable of converting mana into holy power. "This will help you a lot, Master," Whisper suggested. But the boy did not know how to subdue this monster. Moreover, spirits of royal rank are connected with the heavens, and the baby could not yet come close to these gods. "Patriarch, send her back!" someone suddenly screamed. "For even the gods abandoned this crazy maiden. If they judged me for the color of my hair, I would break up with them too," Eli replied. Afterwards, the maiden hastened to attack the elder. "What were you thinking when you called me?" she asked the old man. But he replied that it was not his doing, and he pointed his finger at Isaac again. The maiden turned her gaze to the baby in bewilderment. "You're clearly out of your mind," she screamed. "What did you do with him?" she asked the white-haired man. She wondered why the baby was acting so strangely. Isaac, however, was more interested in taming the spirit in order to use it as a mana filter. "Okay, I'll check it myself. If it can withstand the attack, then it really is he who summoned me," the maiden said. And at that very second, she threw a fireball at the baby. "Isaac!" Riley screamed. "He'd better meet a peaceful end at my hands," the spirit blurted out. But her attack had no effect on the baby. "Now you are convinced that this is his doing?" asked the old man. "Choose either to enter into an agreement with him, or accept punishment," Eli said. "Since I'm here, I'll burn your house to the ground," the maiden blurted out. "Look how your lands burn," she added proudly. Just as she was about to add something offensive, she felt a breath behind her. The baby intended to swallow the maiden. Everyone rushed towards him, wanting to pull the spirit out of his mouth. "Don't you dare swallow this time," the old men screamed. "Crazy! How do you intend to take care of him?" the maiden screamed. "You will pay for this." The spirit continued to scream. Something started happening to the lady's body. She intended to use teleportation. But the baby didn't care about this. He continued chewing. Whisper, looking at this picture, grinned. "Why can't I?" the spirit wondered. "You son of a bitch, this is dark mana," the girl screamed. "That's right." He swallowed the Demon King's finger. The white-haired man intervened. "Holy spirits are the purest beings of the Saint faction. They are weak to dark mana." "Damn, I'm losing my strength, I'm weak," thought the maiden. Then she began to beg for mercy and for the elders to stop the baby. The Skeleton King's strength was too strong to approach. "If you stay with my grandson and cleanse him of the dark mana, you will go back," Eli declared. "If you were not of the saint's line, I would make cutlets out of you," the spirit declared. If it came to that, the maiden intended to use the offspring to destroy the damned one. But suddenly she howled in pain when they started chewing her. "Just leave me with him for 4 days," she asked. Somehow too little, thought Eli. He then ordered the gates to the east wing of the castle to be opened, and no one was allowed to enter there until the cleansing was completed. "Patriarch!" his children shouted, but the old man didn't want to hear anything. At this time, the baby pulled the spirit out of his mouth and stared at the elders. The eastern castle was located next to the annex where the monocores were located. Meanwhile, in the above-mentioned place, suddenly, out of the blue, there was an explosion there. The place was surrounded by servants of the Joshua family, and they began to discuss Isaac's curse. One of them reported that 4 inspectors fled the area in terror last night. They reported seeing a balding old man. "Isn't it a monster without skin and a skeleton?" the girl clarified. The baby was with the Holy Spirit not for 3 days, as was initially agreed upon, and it's been 10 years already. A girl who was looking after the baby came to the scene of the explosion. She walked closer to the door where Isaac and the spirit were sitting. Slowly, as if uncertainly, she touched the door handle. Then, gathering her strength, she opened the door and informed Isaac that she had arrived. "My lord, are you all right?" the maiden clarified. Over the years, the child has not grown at all. He has remained the same. While everyone thought the curse was to blame, Isaac deliberately did everything possible to stay in the child's body. For the babies absorbed the power much better than all the others. By this time, the spirit had already woken up, declaring that his whole body was in pain. "I will cleanse this fiend no matter what," the girl declared. She added that yesterday she almost managed to do it. "Hey you, how can you have more of it today than yesterday?" The spirit began to be indignant. "Why, after so many years, does the dark mana still not end?" The spirit maiden continued to scream. The whole point was that the baby continued to absorb mana from the cores every night for 10 years. But fortunately for the girl, the work was almost finished. Now the baby could use 6th tier spells. "Everything will be fine, master. Dad will join in too," the nanny said. These words left Isaac stunned. "They're going to execute all the Skeleton King's minions who threatened the Empire," the girl said. "We'll be able to get that bastard's last mana out of you soon," she added. Then she suggested that the boy take a rest and eat some candy. "Ah, well done, Shuri," came from outside the window. The one in question managed to become a young priest. "Even the princess will be present at his initiation. It is a great honor to accompany her." "It's all nonsense after all. I'm your son," Shuri said to his father. "Oh, you're such a good boy," said an embarrassed Gowl. But the boy didn't hear this because he suddenly disappeared. A moment later, the young priest was flying to an unknown destination. He landed in front of Isaac. "Hey, Shuri," said the baby. "I wanted to die," the young brat asked angrily. "Do you think you can escape just because you got into the academy?" Isaac asked. "You've only achieved all this thanks to my training?" the kid blurted out. Then Shuri began to complain, saying that he had been working hard all this time. Suddenly, the former Skeleton King thought about something. Then, jumping out of the crib, he declared that he needed help. "Of course, I'll help in any way I can," Shuri blurted out. "Then give me everything you have," the baby asked. "What a demon," thought the 5th brother's son. "What about killing the Demon King's minions?" Isaac clarified. "After the incident with the relic storage, they no longer follow orders and seem to be waiting for death, so they are executed. There's nothing to be done. I'll do it within a year," the kid blurted out. Gowl's son didn't understand what they were talking about. Isaac added that he was planning to join the ranks of the priests. "How are you going to do this if you're not even at the academy?" Shuri was indignant. "Are you laughing at me?" asked the kid after he hit the future priest. There was a system of recommendations. Thanks to a letter of recommendation, a person could be ordained if he passed a test. To get a recommendation, you had to do something important, like save someone's life. Isaac had only a month left to do this. "Will there be a princess there?" asked the little boy. Having received an affirmative answer, Isaac asked whether the girl occupied a high position in society. While they were talking, the two approached the gates of Joshua's estate. "Isaac won't go to the capital," Eli shouted at them. "You know things are different this year," the strangers insisted. The old man's face changed. He listened to them attentively. While all the other candidates announced themselves, Isaac remained silent for 10 years. He had accomplished an incredible feat. Back then, in the vault, the white-haired man continued to persuade. Everyone wanted to see how the baby grew up. "As a teacher at the academy, it has been my lifelong dream to teach Lord Isaac," the other man stated. The fact that Dad would be there made Eli think. He was going to personally confer the titles of heroes on those being ordained. Obtaining the title of hero multiplies your strength. After thinking, the old man replied that Isaac was not yet old enough to take orders. Then the guests of the capital made pitiful faces. "Do what you want," was Eli's answer. "But you must be responsible for your words," he added. Shuri was giving Isaac a massage at the time. The fire in one of the wings of the estate continued. An unknown man watched this. "So he is here," thought the old man. "Summoning a royal rank spirit and making a contract with it is something the Pope can only do for a short period of time. The black-haired maiden belongs to those who control the heavenly barriers." Dad and his family love collecting perfumes. They would have generously rewarded the old man for such a find. Moreover, the unknown person had with him something that would neutralize the powers of the spirit. If the brat's divine mana is suppressed, the Demon King's dark mana will go out of control. While chaos reigned, the old man needed to bring out the spirit. Those who arrived from the capital were already approaching the room with Isaac. They were eager to see the little lord. "He really does look the same as he did 10 years ago," one of them said. Hearing them, the baby paid attention. Then he made a kind face. His good looks captivated the guests. The old man, watching from the shadows, also came to the child. He hurried to take the baby in his arms. Then he hugged him, but not to show his love. Isaac looked questioningly at the stranger. The old man's face changed. He didn't understand why nothing was happening. The spirit that sat on the baby's head told him to kill this suspicious priest. "Here it is, the royal spirit. This is my chance," thought the old man. Then he pulled out a handkerchief from his pocket that was covered in dark mana. This smell seemed familiar to the baby. "Look at this bastard," Isaac thought. At this time, the spirit began to suffocate. "What's wrong with him?" one of the capital's guests wondered. The little maiden could not stand it and began to glow. She released a huge amount of energy. "The spirit is going crazy because of the Demon King's mana," the mysterious old man blurted out. Now, according to his plan, he had to bring out the crazy spirit. Without wasting a minute, the stranger split the stone that was in his pocket. A spell was cast in his hand. It was called the Agonizing Cleaver. A moment later, a column of fire pierced the spirit's body. Watching the maiden burn, he thought he had won. But no, his attack was repelled. A monstrous flame engulfed his body. Isaac could only watch and sneer at the old idiot. At this moment, Relai and the nanny ran into the room. Now there were plenty of spectators. The baby began to meditate. The guests, not understanding what was happening, watched the young man. It dawned on them that the baby began to calm the spirit's rage. When he finished, Isaac looked at the visitors. He looked up and snapped his fingers, and the body of the spirit began to be purified. "As your holiness," cried Riley. The virgin gradually began to come to her senses. The first thing she did was look at her hands. Amazing! He controlled the Skeleton King's mana and even calmed the spirit. The guests squealed. "Isaac," Riley said, walking up to the crib. "You finally spoke. I'm so proud of you," he added. "Is that really the only thing you noticed?" the child thought. After this, the adults began to throw the baby up and repeat his name. "What the hell happened?" the stranger wondered. "I'd like to know that too, you fucking church minister," the spirit blurted out. The maiden clarified who is behind all this. "You are mistaken. I am only here to meet the young master," the old man justified himself. "Am I wrong?" the girl asked, puzzled. "You're wrapped from head to toe in fireproof clothing, and I'm wrong," she added. "From now on, all fire spirits will cease contact with priests who are connected to the Pope. And I'm only doing this because I'm furious," the girl added. "Please wait," the old man begged. The bastard wondered how the spirits could break their connection with the priests who were under contract to God himself. "Get lost. I broke my connection with the gods long ago and am no longer bound by the rules," the spirit retorted. Isaac, hearing all this, just grinned. "Get out of my sight," the maiden ordered him. Then she turned her gaze to the baby. For he saved her and even tamed the Demon King's mana. Since the dark mana was purified, the contract ended, but the spirit was willing to stay with the boy to repay him for his heroic deed. One of the guests said that upon returning to the sanctuary, he would report what had happened. For a child of such a level must be ordained to the priesthood. Meanwhile, Relai came to his father. The Holy See approved Isaac's ordination. They want him to attend the ceremony. He was recommended because he saved a royal-ranking spirit. Being initiated is the same as graduating from the academy. So Eli tested Isaac to see if he had the necessary knowledge. And the baby got an excellent result on all questions. This news shocked Relai. The only pity was that the kid's behavior was not as outstanding as his knowledge. All that remained was to verify the boy's identity. This could be done thanks to a spell that forced one to tell the truth. Fortunately, this test had already been taken and the results were astonishing. Only Riley and father saw it. If a child passes another such test after initiation, he will be executed for heresy. More precisely, Relai would be ordained in his place, so it was impossible to let the child out of the house. First, the boy needed to get an education. There was some noise in Isaac's room. "Sir," Whisper said, "you've already made your decision," the shadow clarified. The answer was affirmative. The baby was planning to sneak out of Joshua's estate. Meanwhile, at the capital's academy, Roman, in the Department of Holy Spells, they discussed the phenomenon of a 10-year-old child being ordained. "The graduation ceremony will be special," said the red-haired man. "A toddler who can't walk will be ordained." Well, well. "Nizer, what does it mean he can't walk?" the maiden was surprised. To which the guy replied that the baby was cursed by the Skeleton King, and the child never grew up. "That's right, Shuri," Nazer asked a member of the Joshua family. The annoying bastard just went quiet, and here he is again, thought Gowl's son. "Belonging to the house of a saint is great. Even an unqualified brat can be ordained," said Nicer. "Damn, how dare he?" Shuri couldn't stand it. "Do you think the Holy See is some kind of toy?" asked the guy who entered the room. "Moreover, the one who accepted Isaac's recommendation was your father, Duke Leon Sepet," he added. "I didn't think you were such an idiot as to insult your father," Kina said. "You're not even a student at the academy. What are you doing here?" asked Nizer. "I am here to teach you graduates," the white-haired guy replied. "Shuri, you're bothering me too," the future teacher blurted out. "The house of Joshua will be in order until the fifth brother's son becomes a priest." "Come to me if your house is in disrepair," Kina suggested. "Calm down, now is not the time," Shuri repeated. Gathering his strength, he said that he did not need anyone's help. Then he proudly added that they would be better off worrying about themselves. Meanwhile, in the hostel, in one of the rooms, a book was thrown on the floor by someone who was very angry. "These rats, why this shit is happening to me?" Gowl's son didn't understand. "My family won't be coming to my initiation because that bastard ran away." Shuri was angry. He didn't understand why now. "I hope you go bald, just like the Skeleton King," the child added as a hand began to appear. "What did you just say?" Isaac said. Shuri's face changed as if he saw a ghost. "I wanted to die for such words," the little boy asked. "I came here to take orders. The patriarch and uncle tried to stop me, so I ran away." The child explained his situation. Be that as it may, after these words, Isaac reached for the bottle. Seeing her, Gowl's son felt ill because he understood what was about to happen. "You're going to accept the offer from the members of Dad's house," Isaac clarified. Before the guy could answer, he was immediately attacked. "These bastards are disrespecting our home," the kid screamed. "Joshua is my home and only I can destroy it," Isaac continued. "Remember this," the kid added, finishing the beating. "Please get rid of him," pleaded Gowl's son. "Don't be a child. Get up and carry me," the midget commanded. It was time to deal with those who had gotten involved with Shuri. The maiden from the Sepet family was eating at that time. Suddenly, her attention was drawn to a baby that appeared on the horizon. Not only she, but also others were interested in who it was. "Who dared to mess with Joshua?" asked a child who approached them. His attention was drawn to Nizer's sister. He remembered her from the relic vault 10 years ago. "Damn, I have to stop him," Shuri worried. Nizer's sister noticed them. Her name was Naki Sepet. Here the boy lunged forward, expecting to catch the baby. But it was too late. Isaac was already on the table. "Redhead, have you gotten to my relative?" asked the 10-year-old. "It was my brother Nizer," the maiden answered. "Okay, so you admit it," said the kid. "Master, I feel a familiar energy coming from her," the shadow blurted out. "The power of one of the 5 main gods." "You must be that Isaac from the rumors," the girl interrupted. "One is from Dad's family, the other is cursed by the Demon King. It won't be long before Joshua's house is wiped off the face of the earth," she added. "Isaac, we can't be at odds with the Crimson House. Let's go," Shuri blurted out. "You think you will be ordained, but it will not happen. Nasser will file a protest with the Pope and cancel the ordination," the maiden continued. "Why was it necessary to ordain an untested child? Although, judging by the way you're acting, it will be canceled sooner." Naki didn't calm down. One of her men leaned over to ask something quietly and suggested calling the Inquisitor. Shuri at this time tried to take Isaac again and run away from here. Suddenly, someone's scream was heard throughout the room. A huge monster paw appeared. It was a huge wolf, and most of them started running away when they saw it. Isaac wasn't scared, because he was the one who called him for insurance. A man from the Sepet family stood in front of Naki to protect her. But it was absolutely useless. The monster got rid of him with just one blow. From this turn of events, the girl's face changed and began to express horror. Everything went according to plan. Isaac threw his bottle at the wolf. I called him so much, but he showed up at the last minute, the little boy thought. Such an attack did not break the dog. He stood firmly on his feet and was ready to attack again. Virgo created a spell for protection. But then the child told the wolf to get lost. The monster's face changed and became pitiful. A moment later, he left the room like a cowardly dog. Well, the owner, a good man, called, beat, and drove away. The shadow intervened. "Where is the monster?" asked the crowd of people in cassocks that appeared. Finding no one, they began to search diligently for him. They were inquisitors. One of them hastened to find out if anything terrible had happened to the girl from the Sepet family. "Well, we'll go," Shuri blurted out. "Stop. You cannot leave the premises until the investigation is completed," the inquisitor blurted out. "We don't know anything," Gowl's son said, confused. "Leave them, Tehor," the red-haired girl ordered, because the baby saved her from the monster. The child was taken aback by what he heard. "That's right, Isaac," the maiden clarified. Here she asked for forgiveness for what she said earlier. "But I'm not really grateful to you," Naki added. The baby didn't understand what was wrong with her. That child, the fair-haired young lady, recognized him. The child, that was what her brother had told her about. She was the princess of the Holy Empire. Her name was Helen Charlotte. Meanwhile, at Joshua's estate, the patriarch spoke to someone in a raised voice, then ordered them to shut up. "My grandson will be educated on the estate," Eli insisted. "If he is kept locked up, the boy will have problems in the future," the other side of the negotiations insisted. "I don't know if you've heard the news," she said. "A child with blonde hair is walking around the academy," the second party added. "Rely!" the father shouted throughout the estate. "To the capital immediately," said the old man. They had to make it before tomorrow. To all his son's objections, the father merely reported the remaining time. There was no other option but to run. The next day in the capital, Shuri knocked on the door of the room where Isaac was and asked what the kid was doing there. He asked his relative to come out immediately. "Let's go already, they'll laugh at you anyway," Shuri added. Asked the kid to give up and return home. Suddenly the door swung open. What he saw amazed Gowl's son. In just one night, Isaac grew up and began to look his age. At this time, in the banquet hall for ordination, the boys were preparing for a meal. Suddenly, the children were asked to stand up. Someone's foot appeared on the threshold. Afterwards, the heads of all the houses came out into the hall. Those who were in the room hastened to greet such great people. "Patriarchs of the 5 major houses, I will be next," thought Gowl. Turning his gaze to the right, he was very surprised because he saw Rely. When asked about Isaac, the 5th brother replied that why would he be here? He should be sitting at home. "Okay, then you know where Shuri is now?" Eli's son clarified. But they didn't have time to finish speaking because His Holiness arrived. It was Dad. It was time to pay his respects. The old man's name was Julio. He was from the house of Barrett. Seeing him, the heads of the houses hastened to kneel. A moment later, the old man found himself on the throne. "Please sit down, dear guests," he said. The ordination began, and the one who was called had to come forward. The first was Isaac Joshua. Eli was surprised to hear this name. But what confused him more was that the baby's name was repeated several times. What was the point of calling someone who wasn't there? Hearing a positive answer, the old man choked on his wine. "Shameless man, how dare he come here?" Howl was indignant. Following Isaac at this time was his comrade Shuri. A member of the Barrett family was furious when he saw the white-haired child grow up. "Step forward, Isaac Joshua," Dad ordered. Rely, like everyone else, also could not believe his eyes, looking at yesterday's baby who could not walk. What struck him more was the fact that Isaac was wearing the robe that Rely had made. As the fair-haired man walked towards the throne, everyone was whispering about whether the child had managed to overcome the Demon King's curse. "What's going on? How has he grown?" Nizer was indignant. But the former baby didn't care about these reproaches. Eli could no longer sit still. He thought that the Demon King was involved and that he had subjugated the child. Isaac couldn't smile like that, the white-haired man thought. The child attracted the attention of the future teacher from Barrett's house. For Isaac did not look like he was cursed, but, on the contrary, like he was blessed. Meanwhile, the former baby approached his dad. The old man looked to be about 70 years old, but he radiated energy like a beast. Moreover, the faces of all the popes that the Demon King had fought with earlier were visible in it. "Maybe I should just cut his throat," the child thought. Eli and his son remembered the answer to one of the questions, according to which, when Isaac and his dad meet, the former will ask him to kneel down to make it easier to behead him. He needs to be stopped, thought the white-haired head of Joshua and raised his hand. A moment later, his chair was destroyed. Eli's son also jumped up from his seat. Gowl, looking at this, believed that they had gone crazy. Noticing this, Isaac realized that they were trying to stop him. Next after the former baby was Shuri. Dad, watching them, did not show it and remained unmoved. Next, the initiates had to pay tribute to the god. The time has come to choose for yourself the one you will worship. Eli and his father were already very close. They watched the boys' next actions. Let it be the patron saint of Azure, Eli insisted. The son asked his father if an evil god would come to him. If that happens, we will destroy it, Eli answered. Isaac, Riley asked again. Perhaps it would be better to get rid of the cup of holy water. At this time, Shuri approached the large cup. He cut his finger and intended to touch the contents of the cup with it. After the drop fell inside, the reaction began and blue magic appeared. As expected of my son, the patron saint of Azure has appeared, Howl cried. After this, Shuri ran to his father. It was time for Isaac to get his finger pierced. In the blink of an eye, he dripped his blood into the cup. Something made Dad wary during this ceremony, because the resulting magic was frightening. Its color was far from blue, it was red and black. Elijah and his son needed to do something urgently. Although they didn't understand what was happening either, the outline of the Demon King appeared above the cup. His spirit looked into the boy's eyes. At this time, Eli had already rushed towards his grandson. As he got there, red shackles began to envelop the boy's body. The white-haired old man charged his hand with magic, intending to attack. He managed to break off the tentacles that had begun to captivate Isaac. But the Demon King was not stupid. He tied the boy with chains and lifted him into the air. The boy didn't understand what was happening. The Demon King laughed at this time and threatened to destroy the sacred empire piece by piece. Isaac didn't understand what this madman was saying, for this parody looked exactly like the 10-year-old child in his past life. "What kind of imposter is this?" Whisper squealed. Father and the head of the family, Sepet, watched from the side. It was time for them to join the battle. 2 attacks were sent into the body of the fake Demon King at the same time. The blow was so strong that it almost hit Eli. "Back!" shouted Relai at this time, ordered everyone to save themselves. Chief Joshua decided not to stand aside for long and also attacked. His magic transformed into a huge white snake. It seemed like everything was over. But no, the fake skeleton was safe and sound. "I really didn't want to do this," Eli blurted out. But there wasn't much choice. It's all because the skeleton talks a lot. A great idea came into the imposter's head. He decided to hide behind his former baby. This is where Isaac became scared. Something resembling a portal formed under the skeleton. "The saint won't die from this, you crazy bastard!" Eli screamed. "Damn, it's going to kill me," the child thought. A moment later, an explosion occurred that blinded everyone with blue light. Shuri at this time fell to his knees and covered his face and ears with his hands. The imposter recoiled from such an attack. His face began to fade from this sacred magic. "Got it," Gowl wondered. "Oh my god, the Skeleton King is back," the others screamed at that time. The former baby survived, but he was angry because everyone thought that the imposter was the real Skeleton King. Relai noticed his favorite and asked how he was feeling. Shuri rose to his knees, his head filled with hundreds of questions arising from what he had seen. "I think the Azure Patriarch tore him to pieces with that attack," Relai told the child. "He couldn't die. It was an illusion," Isaac replied. The guests were surprised when they heard this. Something was clearly wrong with this shadow clone, because the entity was using Isaac's mana. Apparently his mana core got lost somewhere. It was possible to kill the imposter, then a huge part of the boy's power would be returned. Eli came close to his grandson. If the old man hadn't intervened then Isaac would have died 100%. Then the white-haired man glanced to the side. He watched as his father calmed down some child. But all the thoughts of the main old man were not occupied with helping anyone. The greatest of the gods, the one who guarded the golden house for thousands of years. The one who stands above the 5 higher houses. At this point, Dad started getting angry and gritted his teeth because of this. He didn't understand why God chose the offspring of the house of Joshua. These thoughts ate at the old man, and he began to glance sideways at Eli. "Isaac," the white-haired leader blurted out. The boy had no choice but to respond to his name. "It's time to go back," the old man added. "My grandson has overcome the curse and has become so beautiful," Eli cried out joyfully. "Grandpa will buy you some tasty candies for this," he added. "Duke," said the future teacher from Barrett's house suddenly. He began to insist that the child should not return home. Suddenly there was an explosion. Monsters, the spawn of the devil, appeared. There were more and more of them with every second. There were things left here that needed to be taken care of. "Nothing can be done, Patriarch," Isaac blurted out. "I don't think we should really go back yet," the child added. Behind the former baby was the white-haired man from Barrett's house. "Arrogant bastard. He grew up so fast and is already a saint," the boy thought. The former baby's thoughts were only about the benefits he could now extract from the current situation. It was time for these two to show who the real saint was here. Isaac created a ball in his hand, just like the ones his grandfather created. Afterwards, he released it upwards. A bright flash blinded the creatures that were getting closer. "What magnificent lighting!" the guests cried. But some of them did not understand the meaning of using a non-combat spell. It seemed that Isaac was purging their mana and preventing them from recovering, Riley reasoned. All this is thanks to the spirit that accompanied the child for 10 years. If you reach the 6th rank of purification, this will cause area damage over time. Suddenly the creatures' faces changed and they began to cough up blood. "Out of the way, you won't be able to defeat them with your magic," Kina intervened. But the powers of the former baby actually amazed the white-haired one. "With your level of talent, you are no match for me," my comrade blurted out. Suddenly his magic dissipated. Isaac couldn't help but laugh at the situation. "The monsters have strong regeneration, so we need something that will destroy them in one blow," the white-haired man justified himself. But these words made Isaac laugh even harder. Barrett's family member really didn't know anything. "It's all a bait," the former kid said. "The main forces were here." After these words, the baby used a spell, again in the form of a blue ball. Having seen the outline of the insect, he declared that he had found it. "What are you doing with it?" the white-haired man asked. Isaac, in turn, stuck a needle into the insect. After this, an explosion occurred that stunned those present. "He is slowly poisoning those around him," the former child stated. "The poison acts so quickly that no one would even realize what killed them. Some time ago, the skeleton said that he would destroy everyone around him. To destroy the empire, he had to start with the youth. Meanwhile, the priests began treatment with detoxification spells. Suddenly, something caught Isaac's attention. Bright light began to seep through the walls. "Stop! You can't kill them so quickly!" the former kid screamed. Suddenly, the room was illuminated by dark magic. "Sir, this is an opportunity. Cleanse those who have fallen, and they will be obliged to acknowledge your abilities," advised Whisper. But then Dad intervened. He used a 9th-tier holy spell. It was nothing more than mana absorption. A bright flash illuminated Isaac and his comrade. "No one else will be poisoned," the old leader declared. "Oh, that lazy dad," Isaac complained. Suddenly someone's massive paw appeared. "You disobeyed our great king, I will not forgive you," declared the monster. The former baby felt someone approaching, and he abruptly turned his gaze. He barely had time to notice how the wolf rushed at him. The monster's power was familiar to Isaac, but the wolf passed through the true Demon King. This shocked family member Barrett. A 10-year-old child managed to drive away the monster with just one look. The white-haired man clenched his fists out of envy, because only the Pope could do such a thing. After the incident, Dad began to find out what happened to the cup. "Are you saying that the problem is due to outsiders?" Sepet clarified. "The problem could also be in the barrier guarded by the sacred dragon." The next day began without incident. The reason the barrier is destroyed is the invasion of monsters. My nephew, now you can read, came from behind the child. It was Gowl, congratulating Isaac. Then suddenly Relai joined in and also began to praise the baby. But their speech was interrupted by their father, who entered the room, his face stern. "Isaac, leave us for a minute," ordered Chief Joshua. The boy had no choice but to obey the order. The door slammed behind the boy. To make sure Isaac wasn't eavesdropping, the old man used absolute soundproofing. "What do you want to tell us?" Riley asked. This concerned the one who had just left the office. The old man believed that Isaac was chosen during the initiation, but not an ordinary god, but an evil one. During the attack, it turns out, the father was trying to destroy his former child. He wouldn't have done this if Isaac hadn't chosen the evil god. "Perhaps the higher power belonged to their house," Gowl suggested. "Golden faith," he added. "They don't like other people interfering with what belongs to them. If the man Joshua had chosen the god that the people of gold serve, they would not have taken it lightly." This thought made the chief think. Or perhaps the fifth brother added a god that even they had not yet chosen. "Do you think a child would choose the right god?" their father asked. Gowl was given an important task to contact the Pope's house and find out which god was in contact with Isaac. From this moment on, Until the child begins to practice, he will be treated in a special way. If he shows the same results as last time, he will most likely become a dark priest. The father's words alarmed the sons. If this really happens, the entire house will be considered traitors. We must prevent this at any cost, Eli added. You'll have practice soon, Riley told the children. Damn, it sounds like I'm being drafted into the army, the former kid thought. This way, children will find out which specialty suits them best. At the end of this period, they will find out who they will sign a contract with. When will we be able to participate in the offering ceremonies? Isaac clarified. Especially after the execution of the Demon King's minions, the child blurted out. Riley was glad to see Isaac's faith growing. Here he was about to explain something. During the ceremony, they make sacrifices to the gods, and many people gather at the festival. In essence, this is one of the types of rituals that are performed for the gods. The essence of the practice is to serve the god together. So, lower gods and angels are involved in it, yes, the little one clarified. My little Isaac can't wait to execute the minions himself, Riley rejoiced. The team with the best scores will receive this privilege. Damn, this is a team project, the child protested. Uncle Riley wanted his children to get the best grades. Well, nothing can be done, thought the former kid. We'll have to kill some of them and save the rest. Looking at Isaac, Riley understood that the child would never become a dark priest. Here Gowl decided to ask his nephew which god had chosen him then. This question confused Riley and Isaac. I don't remember, it was a disgusting sigil, I almost threw up, the former kid responded to this. Evil god, the fifth brother screamed. It's okay, the main thing is faith, the adults reassured. Also, one of them said that the golden cardinal wanted to see the baby. Suddenly, someone called out to Isaac. Seeing him, Riley and Gowl were taken aback. Keena Barrett stood on the threshold. Rila felt like he wanted to harm the child. Keena took Isaac's hand and held it tightly. He said that he had previously considered his former child to be completely useless. This freak is crazy. What kind of attacks are these? The child did not understand. I understand that you haven't shown yourself to the world for 10 years because of training, Barrett added. For someone like you, practice is a waste of time, he added. He suggested that Isaac train with his grandfather in order to reach unprecedented heights, and also together lead the Empire and destroy the Demon King.